Scenes.
Hello everybody.
Hi there.
Welcome back to the Scenes podcast.
Welcome back to Scenes Podcast. I'm Graham.
I'm Ewan.
That's Ewan.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yes, to another fun-filled episode
Fun-filled episode. We're here on a particularly dreary day
in sunny Scotland,
in sunny Scotland. The weather outside is frightful.
but the podcast inside,
It's so delightful.
yes.
Yeah, you know,
Nailed
we're
it.
here. Rain or sleet or shine.
Yep.
Whatever the US Postal Service is.
The real heroes.
Because we're here to talk about something very fun.
Yes.
Today, Graham, what we're talking about?
We are going to be tier list ranking the Indiana Jones movies.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So we're just off the back of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yes, the newest release, the 5th installment.
So, you know, we're keen to talk about that. We can't quite tier list this one in the same way we could tier list, like, say, the MCU.
Yes.
Because there's only really 5 movies, and I think there's, like, a lateral quality.
Yes, I would agree. There's like, well, the distinctions will be different for us, but there's a very obvious track that it's going to follow.
Yeah, you know, in my head, it's definitely one after the other.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's still worth sort of talking about, and it gives us a chance to sort of go through all of the movies as well,
Yeah.
not just about Dial.
Exactly. We did rewatch them all in the lead up as well.
We did, yes, all 4 of the ones that are on Disney Plus. I hadn't seen them in a while, obviously. I just wanted to see them.
Yeah.
I'm sure you were the same pretty much. My partner, it's her first time seeing them.
Yep.
So yeah, no, we had a lot of fun with that. To lead us in though, so Indiana Jones is, you know, it's a bit of a cultural icon.
Yes, yeah.
His impact is a bit of a fun one because a lot of people will talk about, you know, Indiana Jones isn't quite Star Wars, but it's still like, you know, Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
But then you think about, like, you know, a lot of people even claim that these days Indiana Jones isn't quite a big deal anymore.
Yeah, I think his impact isn't as big. It might have been bigger then, but we can't speak to that because we weren't there, obviously.
He's like a cultural touchstone.
Yeah.
I think in this day and age, like,
Failed to have real staying power.
yeah,
I don't, that might be a lack of like movies. Like when we watched the 3rd movie, I remember asking you why the next one just takes so long to come out, and it's because they just couldn't kind of nail down a director or a script or whatever it was.
yeah, there was a little bit like development back and forth. There was a lot of scripts written. It's weird the whole time between, like, even from what I know, I still think there's more to learn. But it's just strange how, like, especially more looking at it now with Dial of Destiny, like,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't really like click, not in a
Yeah.
bad way, but I have people I know who are like, oh, there's an Indiana Jones film out, and like, again, it's not like Star Wars, but you would think it is.
Yeah.
Because of how iconic it is. I feel like everyone knows Indiana Jones, but they don't not care. I don't want to be harsh about Indiana Jones or harsh about people, but you know, he's a touchstone. He's not so much like a present cultural force, but he's a very large cultural marker.
Yeah, like if we're looking at history of cinema, it would be spending a couple minutes speaking about him.
Yeah, definitely. Especially sort of what it, you know, for Spielberg, for Lucas, especially in and around Star Wars.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like interesting stuff to look into around Indiana Jones. I've been watching a video about Indiana Jones video games and about how, you know, Indiana Jones video games are really critical to the development and success of LucasArts, which is like, you know, LucasArts are like the titans of industry at their prime, cut down in their prime, some might say. What like Indiana Jones represents is like bigger than sort of the meaning of that, you know. With Indiana Jones 5 out, it's sort of like, oh, okay, there's an Indiana Jones movie, but it's more about Indiana Jones as a concept bigger than its individual movies. I think more of like it makes you think, because they're fun adventure movies. They're pretty much always a good watch. They are still like,
Yeah.
they're very hoorah, they're very like, oh, let's run out and, I don't even know the word. I want to say like gung-ho, I want to say like pulpy, you know?
Pulpy's right, especially the first 3, definitely.
The first 3 are quintessentially Spielberg as well.
Yeah. I think it's movies, even the 5th one, they're movies of like a bygone era. I think adventure movies are more like, have morphed into more like action movies now.
Yeah.
So like I'd call like Mission Impossible an adventure movie.
Yeah,
but it's evolved from Indiana Jones.
Serious. Sorry, Snake. I was Snake there. Why it has to be Snakes?
Snake.
Yeah, they're a lot more serious now. I don't. Not that I would be against them bringing it back, but that style just is sort of gone now, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
But then I think there's a lot of debate about, is that good or bad? A lot of people.
I don't know.
A lot of people don't really think, you know, why are we getting a 5th Indiana Jones film?
Yeah.
I mean, did we need it? Will it work in the modern culture era? There's a lot of debate about the box office returns of 5.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of debate about, you know, do people actually want to see this movie?
Yeah. Yeah, when we speak about it, when we get to it, I definitely fall more on the side of like, I don't think we really need it.
No, there's a lot of movies these days that are like, the sequel to another movie, and that's a growing sort of plague, I think.
Yeah, well, it's always let's just remake it, rerun it, reiterate it.
It depends
Just
on what they
always
have
is.
to say, I think. Did you see Toy Story 4?
Mm-hmm.
See, Toy Story 4 is a fascinating one because I really actually thoroughly enjoyed that movie, and I thought it had some really good things to say.
Yeah.
When you have a definitive end, like Toy Story 3 definitive like closed
Yes,
it.
and it's a fantastic ending
Fantastic
to that story.
end. So if you're going to do a 4,
It's going to be different.
it's going to be different, or like it depends. I feel like you're never going to be able to escape it unless it was so incredible. Toy Story 4 to me was always going to make me think, why did we need this?
Yes, but it was actually that good.
And it was good enough when I'm like, do you know what? Like, we didn't need it,
But I'm glad to see
but
it.
I'm happy I've got it.
Yeah.
I actually like the emotional resolution of Toy Story 4 about like Woody helping the doll, like who was like we thought she was a villain, but actually he gives up his voice box and it's like more about helping her find love in that. When I watched that, I felt that I'm like, oh god, do you know what? This movie was justified.
Yeah.
I had a feeling in the cinema about toys again.
Yeah.
But there is other ones. I can't remember what, but there was a movie sequel I remember watching, and I, from the beginning to the end, to walking into the cinema, I just thought we did not need this movie.
Yeah. That's how I felt before seeing Toy Story 4, because Toy Story is like really special to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first movie I seen in the cinema.
3?
Was Toy Story 2, I
Toy Story
think.
2, okay.
I think so.
I love that, okay.
So it's just connected to me on that way, and 3 ended in such a beautiful way.
Yeah, it's a really delicate line, and we'll talk about more when we get to 5, how well 5 succeeds of Indiana Jones, but you always do just run the risk because there's both the story basis of like, are you going to do something that's worthwhile, and as I say, the cultural basis of like people being like, do we need another Indiana Jones movie?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll talk more about that when we get to 5 because there's definitely, I have an opinion and I'm sure you do too.
There's some ground to dig.
Just before we get into it, Indiana Jones obviously is a weird sort of out of our time. See where we dip in and out. How did you like get into it,
Get into it. It was through my mum, who has introduced me to Indiana Jones, Jaws, James Bond, Mission Impossible, loads of great movie series. The first one I seen was Raiders. I think it was just on the telly.
She's got a fucking excellent movie taste. We're all just friends. We actually went to see Indiana Jones 5 with me, my partner, Graham's partner, and just Graham's mum.
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, let's get Graham's mum in. She's a friend. We know that she's part of the movie culture. Valued, like, Fanny Scenes podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, it's also funny because it was my dad for me. My dad, I wouldn't say introduced me to a lot of movies, but he introduced me to Indiana Jones, he introduced me to Star Wars, and the cultural impact of Star Wars on me
Yeah, it's huge.
is huge.
To this day.
And for us, you say you think you saw Raiders first, but our sort of movie was Kingdom with the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, that's the one we saw.
That was like in cinemas. That was like
Yeah.
the movie, for better or for worse. How that sort of coloured our opinions about it going forward.
Yeah.
But that's sort of weird to me because it is one of those franchises where it's like, well, we're bringing it back and, we're going to get the new generation on. Indiana Jones is weird because it's a linear story almost. Like Indiana Jones 4 is about an older Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones 5 is about an even older Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
It's harder for me to look at like Indiana Jones 4 is your gateway. It's like a weird one because it's about
An old guy.
how being a bit older. I'm even stranger for the kids who are going to be seeing 5 as like maybe their first one, and it's literally about how he's past his prime.
Yeah. I don't think it'll land with the kids 5. It's
Unless
more
it's just
for,
a gateway to like get them in.
it's just more for the older gen, I think,
Pretty much, or they can I say that you can just use that as an excuse
to go and watch the
to
old
go.
ones.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go watch them all.
I mean, they should do that anyway.
They should
because they're
watch
the
it.
better ones.
Indiana Jones 1, 2, and 3 at the very least are just significant, like really great movies of their time. Really great examples of just fantastic direction by Spielberg. Just they have such an unbridled energy about them of the era. They are just great movies. I don't even need to. I'm trying to frame them in a greater cultural context, but they're just really good movies.
Yeah, they just hit, man. They just hit. They know what they are. They do it great.
That's a really good point. They set a goal list for themselves and then fulfill every goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Regardless of how people saw them. Because, like, obviously Temple of Doom, as we'll talk about, is a bit different. But when I watch Temple of Doom, I don't necessarily think of it as being like it still feels like they knew what they were doing. And like, yeah, we're just going to bang, 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 accomplish it.
Yeah.
Sorted, you know what I mean? I love Indiana Jones on the raw substance of the films.
Right.
I can talk about emotional movements and like greater cultural narrative and that, but Indiana Jones, while I've tried to say wieldy things about it, I just think they're really great movies. I watched Last Crusade and I just think this is just such a good movie.
Yes.
We'll walk through. So we start with Raiders of the Lost Ark.
With Raiders.
Formerly it was sort of Star Wars. It was Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep.
And now it's Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
So that was the first one you saw.
The first one I saw.
So what'd you think?
Great
Great
time.
Great time at the movies.
When I saw it, I don't really have much memory of that time.
Yeah.
For a rewatch here, it's good. It feels comfortable, watching it.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
cozy.
Yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark sets sort of the field, There's a lot of, like, not just Indiana Jones, but a lot of movies go back to Raiders of the Lost Ark. So when you watch that movie, you're watching, like, that was just kind of speak, an actual cultural capstone.
Right.
An actual, like, the boulder chase.
Yep.
And the face melting.
Yep.
And, like, the whip and the hat. And
the gun.
Said I'm trying not to treat it like a big cultural thing, but it really is just like, oh, this is so fundamentally like everything. This is it. And Raiders of the Lost Ark is just very, very, very well done. If nothing else.
Yeah, they strike gold with the balance here. I think the mixture of action to, like, when you see Indy in the university and he's like Professor Hatton and he's explaining everything to everybody. They mix it quite well. Better than the later ones, I'd say. So you're attached to it, not just because you want to see the cool action happen. You're now invested with, like, the explanation of what are they chasing?
Temple of the Raiders.
Yeah, the Ark of the Covenant.
The Ark of the Covenant.
That's it. They're chasing the Ark of the Covenant. Yeah, so they're invested in that plot now as well.
Yeah, Indiana Jones really thrives on the mystery.
Yeah.
All the movies, I think all of the movies, all have that great element of just like there's a wacky MacGuffin. We don't know what it'll really do.
Ooh.
And there's just a bunch of like mystery about it. There's a bunch of like clues and guides and chasing that through. This one best exemplifies, as you say, like the whole like it knows what it is. And it's just really successful at doing it because it takes these very greatly paced film, just great characters with like clear archetypes. We know who Indiana Jones is very clearly.
Yeah.
We know who like Belloc is, Salah, Marion. It's got just such a polished mystery. It's got great set piece moments. It really knows how to revel in its moments from like every aspect, like cinematography, like acting, score. The amazing John Williams is obviously on all these movies, even up to the Dial of Destiny. I love the scene in the map room because the staff and it shows the way to go.
Yeah.
I love obviously the ending with the arc and just the nightmarish, grotesque like face melting. Like, what is that about?
Man.
This was like a 12A, I think, or a PG.
It's PG. Great get puppets.
Great puppets.
Melting shit. Good fun.
What was going through their mind?
I've no idea.
You've
lost me there. Like
how like they would have made this such like pulpy like
how the BBFC have went. That's a PG film. IMO.
There's always an element of like I guess morbidity to it. I mean, Pat Roach gets like bisected by a biplane in this. And,
you don't see that though.
You don't really see it. It's like a blood splatter, isn't there?
Yeah.
But it's like a sort of like, oh man, he got cut by the biplane. And then like, by the way, do you want to see like Totes like literal face like melt, actual eyeballs fall out, plasticine face literally like came in
maybe
itself.
because it's like comically grotesque.
Is it though?
I think so.
I watched that and I'm like, oh.
But you just don't like viscera like at all.
I don't really like viscera, I suppose. I've quite like a viscera phobia. I love it though. It's always so incongruous in a great way.
Like if you saw, there's this one scene in the first Hellraiser movie where they like construct a body backwards. So like it's created, like the blood comes up first, then it's on the sinews and like the skulls and stuff, and they all come up and like do it backwards. It's amazing, but you would not be able to watch that scene probably.
Absolutely not. I get freaked out at like the museum when you see the pure model of like the nervous system.
Yeah, and it's all like tore off.
Put your skin back on. I almost think the whole Indiana Jones ending in like Nightmare Viscera is great because then they do it in like every movie, but it's always the great effect, which is like the bad guys mess with like ancient powers they shouldn't have and they paid the ultimate price. And obviously in this movie it's the goddamn Nazis.
The goddamn Nazis.
I think Nazis are a great villain because you just don't ever need a reason to dislike them.
Yeah.
You just know it's the fucking Nazis.
Like, oh, it's the damn Nazis again.
You know what?
Get them.
Indy, get in there, fuck them up.
Get some Nazis.
I don't need to like worry about the moral complexity. Which is what a great aspect of just Indiana Jones in general. There's obviously things to think about.
Right.
Especially like the Fortune and Glory, like
Fortune and Glory.
The emotional sort of journey he's on. But the idea of like Indiana Jones is like a rapscallion.
Yes. A rogue.
A rogue, but a heart of gold, a womanizer. But he's never really in the wrong.
Nah. I mean, he is grave robbing.
I suppose he is
grave
robbing.
Straight up
You
grave
always
robbing.
comment about, like, this belongs in a museum, but like what museum, Indy? Like,
yeah.
You're just holding cultural artifacts. But again, it's not like it's not like Indiana Jones versus like moral complexity. It's not like all man should. These guys get the art. No, they're the Nazis.
Yeah, we're not trying to like do that. We're trying to just have a good time. at the movies.
It's just Indiana Jones
Punching
will
some Nazis.
punch his way through. He will solve puzzles. He will slide blocks around.
Yes.
And he will, like, save the day, and he will get the artifact, but he will lose the artifact, and he'll learn a lesson about loving life along the way.
Possibly.
Raiders is so great because it really did just lay the groundwork, but, like, it stamped the groundwork down.
Yeah.
With a big boot. It was like, this is it. Look at what we can do. I'm loath to just keep saying it's good.
It is good,
we
though.
joked about this when we talked about Shape of Water. Like, it's just a really good movie.
Shape of Water is just fucking really good, so you should just watch it.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
It's just really good,
It's a really good movie. I really can't express how there's just something about every aspect of it. Like, the dialogue is, like, fun and witty, and, like, the tone is great. It's almost a comedy, but not really.
Yeah.
It's got such light-hearted elements, like, and such funny moments.
So many movies are like that for me from, like, this era, late 80s, early 80s, 90s. Like, Predator is just right in that sweet spot
Predator,
as
I
well.
didn't even think you showed me Predator for the first time not even that long ago. A couple of years now, and I'm surprised with just how funny it was.
Yeah.
And just how, like,
It's just like
was for what
lads in the jungle.
Yeah, just like Jesse Ventura, I'm a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus.
I ain't got time to bleed.
Like, that's incredible. And, that's what Indiana Jones is about. It's just, the banter interspersed with, like, legitimately, we're fighting Nazis, we're recovering ancient artifacts. It's the perfect cocktail of a tone, and I don't necessarily think Indiana Jones was the one who came up with it. Adventure serials in general, like, probably Flash Gordon's your real credit, but, what I think Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark did was perfectly package an experience like this.
Right.
Just every single beat was like boof, 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 crafted to the perfect degree to give you what you need.
Right.
It's fun, it's exciting, it looks believable, it sounds great, acted very well. This one's mysterious, this one's dramatic, this one's a bit scary. I can't really overstate how much I think it's just crafted so well.
Yes, which is a shock that it's actually one up later.
Yes, yes. I think, we can move on because I feel like we said a lot, we've also said nothing. But, like, that's really the thing about about Raiders of the Lost Ark, sorry.
So you already know it's good?
Yeah, it's good. It's on everybody's 100 movies to watch list. It's on, I'm sure it's high up on Letterboxd. Everybody I know,
no doubt,
all the people I know who, whether it's their favourite or not, they just tell you Raiders of the Lost Ark is supremely good.
Yeah.
It's just
get it watched.
So well constructed. I just can't overstate that. That's, you got to give Spielberg and Lucas credit. It's wild to think of a product that just doesn't miss. And I'm not saying it's incredible. I'm not saying it's literally like, oh, wow, it's the best movie ever made. I mean, it's really great for what it is.
Yeah.
And the time it came out in.
Just a solid.
I really admire movies that really do just hit every bullet. Cocaine Bear, I was really big on that because it was just so solidly constructed. Not brief, but fast enough.
Yeah.
Like, every line was either purposeful or funny. It built what it needed to do. Nothing felt superfluous.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. I can't say anything more because it just merits a good bit of lauding.
Damn, man. I just think, like, we're robbed of films like this these days. Solid movies, I mean, not just like Raiders of the Lost Ark quality.
They don't make them like they used to.
They just simply don't anymore, and it's a shame.
I
Maybe
think,
one day.
compare Raiders of the Lost Ark to Dial of Destiny and like the filmmaking quality, we can talk about more of Dial of Destiny's own merits and defects when we get there, but just the sheer watch an action scene of Raiders of the Lost Ark and watch one for Dial of Destiny, and it's just not the same.
Yeah, well, they're shot very differently. Everything in like Raiders is practical.
Yeah.
It's all a wide when they're doing action. It's all a close up these days.
I mean, everything's like wide. There's miniatures, stunts.
Yeah.
Everything these days is like CG and like you see like a lot of different aspects like that, like close ups and that. And I think more like, and it's weird because I don't want to say people just don't do practical. People do practical.
Do the practical. It's just you need to go elsewhere. It's why I really respect Asian cinema, particularly like Korean and Japanese films, because they are the only people that kind of commit to the action at that level. The only one that's like Western, I'd say, would be John Wick recently. Who just commits to that level of like, we're going to do the action correctly, we need to do it in this certain way. It needs to look believable.
Weirdly enough, you won't catch me giving praise to episode 9 any more than this, but like the Star Wars sequels don't get enough credit, especially following the prequels. Like,
yeah, the prequels especially were it was
like literally Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen were just in a big green box
for 8 hours fighting until they got it right.
But like 7, 8, 9 were like an amazing amount of practical stuff. I mean,
well, that's a credit to JJ in the first one, Force Awakens, who was like, we need to make every alien real.
Yeah, I'll give JJ the credit for that. I'm going to talk about Ryan Johnson for a minute.
Oh no, this is where he loses you listeners, right?
They were out there on that island in Ireland doing everything they could, building whatever they could, walking around the tidal waves. The bit where Luke blows up the hut, they built this practical hut with like wires attached and just ripped it apart like to sound like the Force.
I like the Porgs.
Porgs were great, and like there's like practical models of them, and like there's the big aliens in Canto Bight. Canto Bight was like a set, and yeah, look, J.J. Abrams was like, yeah, we're gonna come back and we're gonna like do it like how they used to. We're gonna build sets, we're gonna build aliens. So I'm not denying him. I any chance to give Ryan Johnson his flowers because God, well, I will talk about The Last Jedi one day, and it will be an episode of just me talking.
Oh,
They won't even get it.
I'll be nodding. I will maybe say it's not my favourite at some point, and then he will upset with me.
No, I'm getting there. I'm not that snide of a fan. I think there's a difference between I don't like it as much as you do, and I hate it for bigotry reasons, or like I hate it because I'm so blinded by nostalgia that any differences to my lifestyle will mean automatically that Ryan Johnson's a murderer who should get put on the Hague.
The Hague.
You know, like
crime against women.
Oh, but we won't infect this episode with that talk. And again, even worse of a warning, I'm going to say something nice about episode 9.
Oh, Jesus.
They just continue that. You know, they're out on set filming. And you can tell in those movies.
Yeah.
I mean, episode 9 just looks worse than a lot of them movies. I hate episode 9. But it still did good things and it still had a lot to show. And
yeah, well, you need to respect the craft still.
Exactly. I have to give the credit where it's due. I'm not going to fault things that I can just obliquely say are good. And yeah, episode 9's got more real aliens, more like great set locations and that. And you comparing that to scenes in Dial of Destiny, comparing that then back to Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
I'll say episode 9 because it's the furthest along the timeline.
Yeah.
Compare like Raiders 2, episode 9, and then to like Dial of Destiny. They just don't make them like they used to, but it's so good when they do try.
Yes.
You know, like when episode 7, 8, and 9. I mean, 9's got its own problems that maybe hold it back. Like episode 7 and 8, we're going to really do like our own stunts and our own action scenes, and we're going to build the sets, we're going to build like the creatures and the effects, and it just feels good. When I look at that, I know what you can tell something's like real. You know what I mean? Some stuff gets touched up with CG and they blur the lines, but I keep thinking of it. I don't want to talk too much about Dial because we're technically on Raiders, but I watch scenes in Dial where I'm like, it just looks fake. I'm just not looking at anything real here.
Yes.
It's so upsetting, especially because some stuff could be like the train chase just felt fake, but it just didn't need to be. And the stuff at the end, which we'll probably talk spoilers when we get to Dial, but just, you know, like the ending bit, that just looked fake to me. I just didn't like that at all. But Raiders, everything looks real, but see when it doesn't, it's so pulpy and of its era that it covers it.
Yeah.
When a movie these days doesn't look real, it just feels fake. It feels like they were trying and they messed it up.
Yeah.
Back then, they were really good at crafting something that was either, oh, that looks really real and I can believe in that, or disbelief was so, maybe it's more the fault of computer stuff getting so involved that nowadays we just know it can look better, or we see it differently. Back then, when we didn't have quite as ridiculous amounts as we do now, you were easier to just accept things more. But I just feel like movies like Raiders, where it wasn't inherently like super realistic and like just brought you in, oh, we're doing all our stunts, we're doing all our effects, it was still like tangible.
That's the word, tangible.
Goofy and fun and wacky, but it was still all real and it still felt in good spirits.
Yeah.
When you do CG wrong, it feels heartless. It feels soulless. I can't think of a person like, oh yeah, but he tried his best. I'm like, but he's a fucking robot. And did a robot really try its best?
Yeah, exactly. That's why you got to love like Chris Nolan, who just like made Interstellar and there's like no CGI shot in it apparently.
Well, yeah, apparently there's not a single CG shot in Oppenheimer or like CG effect.
Because the man's just committed to
just
practicality.
Blew up a nuclear bomb.
Just literally dropped a nuke.
The fallout from Oppenheimer, literally the fallout, the radioactive fallout will be felt. So Indiana Jones 1, it's just great. It's high up there. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. What do you reckon?
I think it's the third best movie.
That's a statement.
It's a statement.
It's an opinion, aye.
It's an opinion right there.
I think it's the
slap bang in the middle.
Temple of Doom is weird.
You think it's weird?
Well, I think it's weird, not so much that it's badly weird. Raiders of the Lost Ark, for me, I think for you, is second best.
Yes.
Temple of Doom is third best for you. For me, I think it's fourth or fifth.
Oh my god.
It goes back and forth. I think
really?
I have to be fair and give it fourth.
Damn, yes. Come on.
I think I have to give it fourth.
Man, you got me questioning what is fifth now.
Well, I think
we'll get there.
You know what third is, and I think you're angry about what third is.
Maybe. Not that angry.
I don't not like any of these movies.
Yeah.
I think all these movies are incredible to good.
Right.
Even the worst one in my head is still like, I was a good time at movies.
Yeah.
I can't ever get over how different Temple of Doom is, which is what the critics at the time were like. Temple of Doom didn't really review quite as well because a lot of people are like, this just isn't the same.
Right.
I think one of the biggest things is just it's more heavily vague spiritualism. So we transition from like concrete historical, like globe-trotting adventure, featuring like pseudo-Christian artifacts and stuff that when you're Jewish and stuff that people might know. And it's like, no, we're in one place out in India dealing with like strictly Indian lore, and it's very much like the stones are magic, man's pulling people's hearts out, blood sacrifices to a blood god that doesn't make
Kali Ma.
And I don't not like it, but I just could never appreciate it in the same way that the other mysteries are. It's the Jaws effect, innit? You don't really know much about the Ark of the Covenant until it's open, at what point all hell breaks loose. You don't know that the Holy Grail's real until they're actually with the Grail in hand and it actually does do something. Which, I mean, you might disagree with that, but like, he's giving me the squint.
I don't know what you mean by Jaws effect. Like, I just don't know what
the Jaws effect is like, you don't... Well, okay, it's not quite the same, but obviously in Jaws you don't see the shark all that much, and the less you know about it, the more scary it is and the more unsure it is.
Yeah, it's
until like, you do finally get the reveal right at the end, pretty much.
Well, the show don't tell.
Yeah, pretty
tell
much
don't
show.
Tell don't show, show don't tell. Who knows? One of the two. Foreshadowing.
It's not quite the same because Jaws is like a more of a scare factor, whereas it's like a mystery, but it's the same sort of effect to me where it's like you just don't see enough about it or get given enough about it. You just know it's sort of there, and you're like, oh man, people are saying it's weird, and you know, oh, the Ark like burned that one box in the boat. Why did it burn the box? Until like right at the end where it's like, oh shit, oh my god, there's ghosts. The Nazis are melting. Oh Marion, don't look, there's ghosts in the box.
Oh my. Jesus.
Whereas in Temple of Doom, it's just all sort of always there. I mean, from the get-go, it's sort of like they get to the village and like, yeah, the stones are magic. We need the stones because all our crops are dead and like the fucking water's dried up and we're all poisoned because the stones are magic and they would have helped us.
I still think they level it up incrementally though.
I mean, yeah, they do. I just think I don't think there's as much as like a mystery. You know, there's not as much like a mystery aspect.
Maybe not. No, I don't think the history's as nailed in, but you're just with Indy on the adventure the whole time.
It's still
it doesn't like jump back or go anywhere else. It's just from start to finish linear.
Yeah, well, that's almost my issue as well. My biggest issue is that we can talk back and forth about the whole how like, whether the Shankara stones, for example, are comparable to like the Ark and the Grail and that, and how the magic fits in. My biggest issue with Temple of Doom is just the setting. I heard it described as like the other movies are all globetrotting.
Aye.
They go to different locales and get involved in different things.
Yeah.
This one has the opening set in Shanghai, and then they just go into it and they're there the whole time.
Yeah.
They're at the Indian village, and like you have to go to the palace, and then they're just at the palace for literally the entire thing.
Yeah.
There's like variation. There's a nice upstairs, then there's a cult downstairs, but I don't know. It's not really like a place that's interesting to me, and what happens there is interesting. I don't know what it is. It just feels thematically out of step with the other two, and like, or not thematically, maybe more like Structurally, yes, thank you. It feels so structurally out of step with the other two that maybe I've just never been able to like realign it. Because it is good and I do like it and there's a lot to love.
Yeah, and that's why I like it third best.
Yeah. What do you like about it?
In ways, I guess I like that it is quite different. I like the kind of magic plot of it. The whole Kali Ma stuff is awesome. Ripping hearts out, that's awesome.
I do quite like Mola Ram, yeah.
I like the whole ritual scene. That's really cool. It's maybe my favourite like action ending because Crusade doesn't end with a big action set piece really. This one
like the bridge scene and
it goes rail cart into the bridge. Awesome.
Oh yeah, the ending of this movie is just all fire.
Yeah, like everyone fighting in the
fight when it breaks out the mine
caves.
Control, then the fight in the caves,
all that stuff
gets crushed by a boulder roller, the mine cart.
Awesome, yes. Into the bridge scene, which is great, and then that's the end of the film.
To be fair, I think, you know, the ending is really great.
The ending of Raiders is like, we get the Covenant open, that's it. The Ark opening, and that's it.
You know, the action in Raiders really peaks with the fight with Pat Roach at the plane and the
lead up to
the truck chase, which is a fucking incredible scene. I love an Indiana Jones chase, truck chase, minecart chase, tank chase, Last Crusade, the chase at the start of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull through the college, the chase through Glasgow.
Boat chase.
And Dial Destiny, the chase in New York. I love an Indiana Jones chase. So I was going to say, this has got two chases because I really, really like the opening to this movie.
Yeah, the opening is great. The Shanghai stuff, the whole music number.
The stuff with the gangsters. Oh, it just looks great. I think, because this is a movie of great moments to me. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I don't like it. I would never pick its setting and style over other things. I think it's fascinating, especially because, you know, every other movie, 1 and 3 are very much like Christianity, Hebrew, like that sort of stuff. This one was cool because it was always like India, you know, the Shankara stones and like sort of that religious stuff. So this movie has a weird cultural legacy for how it depicts Indian people. Like the whole like eating child monkey brains and like live snakes and that's obviously not what happens, and that made a lot of like, you know, a lot of people were happy with scenes like that. The depictions of the thuggy cult, I know, I've never been able to really lock that down. Lego keep having to like cancel and hide all of their Temple of Doom sets because there's just always an issue with the depiction.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a weird one because I want to say like I enjoy the cultural difference in this one compared to some of the others, but then, you know, I keep looking into it and I keep watching certain scenes and I'm like, oh god, I don't actually think this is that great at representation and great at showing that.
I don't think anyone was that good.
Because do you know what else?
Yeah.
You say that, but like I think all the other ones valorize the mystery a bit more. Like third one especially, this is like the noble quest for the Grail.
Yeah.
This is a holy relic. You know, this is heroes and knights. This one is like mystic and good for the village, but then it just sort of has this weird like it's just like magic rocks that the cult stole. And the evil weird cults that are like drinking blood, doing mind control. It just doesn't feel... I really don't know what I'm trying to say, but I just think...
I think they pay respect to like the quest that Sankara had with the stones.
I think they give
the
lip
power
service
to do
to it. They talk about it.
Yeah.
Again, like, and this maybe just because how good Last Year's Crusade is, but that one's very much about just the process of the quest for the Grail and what that means. This one's just sort of like, it talks about the sanctity of it, and it does have the really good arc of Indy. Because this is, you know, that's a prequel to Raiders of the Lost Ark. Which I just did not know. This one's about like Indy being a bit more like, oh, money, fortune and glory, like get those Shankara stones, get them in my pocket. But this is the movie where he's like, oh, you know what? No, like, you know, there's meaning. I have to, you know, I can help people. I have to respect history. I don't know what it is. There's just something about the relic and the story and the world building in this that doesn't quite sit as well with me.
Well, it could be that like Christian histories are just more researched, so they have more to draw on, they have more to touch to. And the other
possible.
movies.
Maybe I'm like, there's like an innate bias. I don't really feel it's like I just don't like India type of thing. I've started, as I've become more and more aware of like cinema and stuff like that, you know, I've really been hit in the face with like, oh damn, Western culture media is a bit shit. And you know, we talk Judeo-Christianism and all that, Judeo-Christianity and all that stuff is more well known, more researched, more like culturally normative to us.
Well, that's because we make it. If you watch like Japanese Buddhist films, I won't get a lot from it because I don't know the history of Buddhism, but I'm sure they're very well informed if you want to look into it more.
This is one of those ones where I'm like, I don't actually know how involved like proper research and proper like Indian people were in this and like, proper
what is George Lucas spending 6 months in fucking India? Like
I feel like the whole Shankara thing, like the concept of the stones, I feel like he read about it, but like I don't really think there's anywhere else in the Indiana Jones movies that they make feel like such an other than these movies. You've got like the one destitute village where everyone's constantly clamouring them and it's like, oh, we need our stone, we need our stone back, you know, sudden dropped out the sky saviors, you're us. And then you've got the palace and like the weird, you know, oh, I'm a child Maharaja and we eat monkey brains here and we eat live snakes and we've got a cult downstairs that has children mining. And I'm not saying there's like stuff like that in the other movies. I think this one feels like the most othered, probably because it just...
Yeah. I'd agree that it's the most othered.
It's such a weird concept, you know what I mean? And I don't think I'm explaining myself as good as I could, but I hope I'm getting the general point across. I just don't... It feels out of step with the rest, and I think it's probably because it's, you know, new location, new types of people, but it just doesn't really feel right.
It just doesn't hit for you.
It doesn't hit for me, no. I like a lot of things about it, which feels unfair. I feel like a bit like a dick, but...
I'll be a dick later.
Oh yeah, you will be a dick later. I say everyone will agree with you. People will disagree with me, but they'll agree with you.
They might not agree with me as hard as you think. I don't know.
Maybe I'll convince them.
Maybe you'll win me over.
But yeah, I still like it. I still think it's very good. You were right about the action scenes, like back to back action scenes. They're all just very, very good.
Yes.
Willie Scott is intolerable, and I love her. She's just screaming all the time, and for some reason my brain flips back and goes into endearing. Although, you know, maybe there's something about that. I think I said when we were watching it, I said like every other movie has like just an infinitely more appealing female character, and I don't mean appealing like looks, I mean appealing like
Jones girls.
Marion and Elsa, and now with Dire Destiny I'd say even Helena, like they're all interesting and fun and smart and more than just screaming Indy and screaming bugs, Indy.
Helena in a different way.
Oh, I think I love you, we have to have sex now.
Yes. Well, that's because he's rizzed Diana Jones, bro.
To be fair, he is rizzed up in this movie.
Nocturnal mating habits.
The guy is such a man-whore in this film. He is so on it. But Short Round's also in this film, and he is...
Short Round is.
Incredible. Again,
Jones.
I think, you know, the cultural side, looking back on it, maybe you could say 6 1/2 dozen, but Kihi Khan's, like, Oh, he's so good. You know, it's weird when we go back and watch it. It's not even like he's so popular now, we have to look back on him and fondly. We watch him back, he was great back then.
It was great,
It's a shame that Hollywood fucking just stopped giving him parts and he started feeling like conscious of himself, because he's really good in Goonies and he's really good in this. He was like probably my favourite part of the whole movie, because he's just so full of personality and so fun and such an interesting foil. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to say, because I want to give Temple its fair shot.
I've given it its fair shot. I know where it sits.
You stand up for it. You know, as you say, everything I've said, you just like...
I respect the bold swing. It lands for me.
Is it even that much of a bold swing in retrospect?
I think so, because they go immediately back to what's tried and true in the next film.
Well, it's true, yeah.
And it makes gangbusters.
Unfortunately, they went back to what's tried and true, and oh man, really? And then they go back and it is actually the best movie.
Yeah.
It's like literally incredible. And that is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
They just were like, you know what? Let's go back to that, but let's just perfect it.
Let's go back to that and let's make one of the best movies ever made.
Yes. Probably in like top 100, maybe top 50 of all time.
Last Crusade is, in my head, literally perfect.
I don't know if it's literally perfect, right? But it is the best Indiana Jones movie.
It's the best Indiana Jones movie, but I'd say a country mile.
I'd say a marginal. I don't know if I've put it so far ahead of Raiders.
Yeah, some conversations with some people. A friend of mine, Joe Brennan, on Twitter and YouTube. I think he prefers Raiders and Last Crusade. I know a couple of people who do.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, Raiders was the originator, and it was really, really great and sort of perfect at what it did.
Right.
Which is why it's weird, because Raiders and Last Crusade do feel quite similar, but Raiders was such a streamlined, all firing cylinders, every part polished. So it's weird for me to say, but Last Crusade also just did it better.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. I think the first biggest obvious thing is Sean Connery.
Yes. Then introduction of him, and then like 5 scenes after his introduction are like 10 out of 10 scenes.
There's so
They're
many
the best in the movie.
Great elements. I think it's because every time they swing so flawlessly into what they swing into. When they move into a comedy moment, they do an impeccable comedy moment.
Yeah.
When they move into like a mystery moment, they do an impeccable mystery moment. There's always a fun resolution, a little twist, a surprise, like a little wrench in the plans you didn't expect, but it's like fascinating.
Yeah.
Sean Connery is like a huge part. This is the movie where, you know, we need to give the due credit obviously to Harrison Ford. I mean, he's great in every single movie, 1 through 5. I like 3 the most because it just feels the most energetic.
Yeah, I think he's having the most fun, and I think it's because he's got Sean Connery as a scene partner.
He's got Sean Connery with him.
Sean Connery's just fantastic in this kind of role where he's like messing about a little bit. He's having a bit of fun with it.
Even in the scenes before Sean Connery, like the scene in the library at Venice and the crypt and that, the whole...
Well, I think again that's because he's in those scenes with 2 other actors. A lot of the other movies, it's him on his own, or he's with the heroine, and she's like stuck behind a trap or something.
Temple of Doom's a lot of like, short round makes a quip and Willie screams. Whereas like this one's like, you know, Elsa and Marcus, Salah and Henry Sr., they all have like something to contribute as well.
I just don't think he's alone in this movie.
Yeah, everyone works together.
Yeah.
And sometimes they fail in silly ways, but they're always contributing. Every character has a purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is great. I still feel like this is his most animated era.
Yeah.
The scene on the Zeppelin with this guy out, he's like, no ticket.
No ticket.
One of my most quoted scenes of all time is the second Grail trial. But in the Latin alphabet, Jova starts with an I.
J.
Straight through the ground. Impeccable. It's Jova begins with an I. Sorry, I need to get the quote right. You know, he's great. He's always great, but so as well, I don't really know how to say it, but he is just better in this. I think it is because, as you said, they really just perfected everything. And I'm not saying Raiders was like not perfected. It was just such a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
You know, they just take every aspect and they just thought, how can we just level up? The visuals, how can we level up? The settings, the diversity in the settings. Like, you know, Venice Canal Chase, like German Castle at Night.
Let's go. I love that German Castle.
I love Castle Broomwald. I've said the Venice Canal Chase is one of my favourite set pieces of like things. The John Williams score for that is fantastic. I have the Venice Canal Chase on my Spotify playlist because it's just such a great, upbeat, wacky song. One of the best Lego sets of all time. No cap, the Venice Canal Chase Lego set. I would play with that so much because you could like blow up the boats. You got Kazim. There's characters like Kazim. It's like this guy. And he's like, yeah, I'm like a guy who wears a fez and we like protect the Grail. Stop looking for the Grail. He's like, I don't really want the Grail. He's like, cool. And then he just comes back and he's like amazing and he's like shooting the Nazis. He's the one that's pure like, my soul is clear or is yours, you know that. He's just such a Chad and he's like such a weird addition, but he makes sense for the world. He contributes. I really want to know how they did it, quite frankly. How did they get away with it? I look forward to every scene.
Yes.
I don't know, the tank chase is coming soon. I fucking love the tank chase.
Fucking love the tank
The
chase.
Grail Temple's coming soon. I fucking love the Grail Temple.
What? Amazing. Let's go.
And that's another one where I'm like the perfect example of how they do like the MacGuffin as well. Like the whole like, well, I don't know how I believe in it. You know, Henry Jones Sr. he's a bit like into it, but then as they discover more and more that like points more and more towards it, you know, God, it might be real, and then you get there eventually, and the constantly increasing mysticism of it. I think that's a great point. I'm not trying to say this is a guaranteed comparison, but I think about how in Raiders they obviously like discover about the Ark, and it's it's cool, it might be real, and then they find it, and it's just sort of like there. They discover this tomb and it's like cool. It's sort of just there. It's just in the tomb. We found the tomb and it's there.
Yeah.
The more mysticism of what actually happens when we open it.
Well, I think it's like, it's just more of a thing, right? Like the quest for the Holy Grail.
I love this because
there's like more like weird step things you need to do to it.
There's a lot more like riddling and like archaicness and stuff just starts happening. You know, the idea of the Grail Temple is insanely good. Anybody I've talked to will tell you the Grail Temple from entrance to end of the movie is really great.
Yes, it's like staked up perfectly with Henry Jones Sr. dying slowly, and Indy's like, I've got to do it.
We
have
a
to make it.
We have like a, you know, how's it going to handle these trials? Because, you know, we're sort of really just finding out about the trials, and we'll know about them in riddles. The distribution of information, like we know a bit, but we don't know enough to just say like press A to win. You have to like use what we do know and then figure it out. Then obviously you're getting to the Grail. The fucking Grail Knight, there's an old ass man there.
The Chad Grail Knight.
And that is like almost ridiculous in itself.
Yes,
there's just
thousands-year-old man.
This fucking old ass man. I was a crusader.
Bro,
you were a crusader.
Me and my brothers.
And that's so fucking cool. It's so cool. And he's like, you know, he chose poorly. Another most quoted thing of all time. Like, he did choose poorly. Like, chose wisely. I think it just ramps it up in the best way out of all of them. Yeah, I think one of the things that makes it work is because they literally address it in the movie. You had that scene outright once they escape the castle where talk about the quest for the Grail, and that is like a meaningful experience in itself.
Yeah.
And it's not just about like the archaeological record. It's not just about finding it for fortune and glory.
Yeah.
It's about like the spiritual, meaningful thing about it, which I just thought was like boundlessly interesting. You know, his take, like Senior versus Junior's take on it. Again, how they grow as characters, them sort of regaining that father-son bond. Oh, it's just. What do you think isn't good at it? What's the flaw?
It takes too long to get to Sean Connery.
Takes too long to get Sean Connery.
Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Where is the?
That's not a fault.
Where is the hole
it's
in
all
the
good
armor?
before that as well.
I don't, because, you know, I don't want to get away with just saying it's perfect. No, I don't think anything is.
It's maybe not perfect. I can't see the fault though.
Because it's like, you say it's too long to get to Sean Connery, but then it's good that we get like
I'm not even saying like it's bad.
an indie Elsa action
good.
scene, a really fun and interesting action scene,
Young
puzzling.
Indy.
And then when he gets there, it's like, oh shit, it's Sean Connery.
It's Sean Connery.
I'm hard pressed to not say it's perfect. Hitler's in this movie.
Hitler's in this movie.
And it's such a beautiful comedic beat because it's so much like, God, Indiana Jones would just punch this guy.
Yeah.
But he's like in Berlin at a Nazi rally with Hitler. And
Dressed as a Nazi.
Dressed as a Nazi. This guy's Nazi. It's like, oh, Indy, you're in the fucking den of the Vipers now, aren't you? Like, what are you going to do about this? And then he signs the fucking journal. It's like, oh. It's ludicrous when it wants to be, and it always works. It's serious when it wants to be, and it always works. It's got emotional, it's got like, you know, great character stuff, like Henry's like spiritual quest, Indy's like getting back to his father and him sort of learning like spiritual stuff and, you know, caring more about his father than the treasure. Elsa like being like the pure devil on Indy's shoulder, like the direct, like, no, it's the treasure, it's about like the glory, it's about the find, and it's like, no, it's not about the find, it's about what you as a person that went through to find it, you know? Like when there's some villains, like there's the Nazi general guy who like gets run over by the tank or whatever, he's just like a big fucking like, oh, Indiana Jones, I am a Nazi, and then he's just like so evil, and I love that. Like Salah's back at this one, him and Brody, and they all just have this great like old man banter.
Yeah.
Even though they're not like all old men technically, but when they're all together, he feels like as much of an old man as he physically is in the later movies.
Yeah.
But it's more like your granddads are just like bumbling about in the desert.
On gals.
Which is like
horses.
Funny. It's weird because it shouldn't work. It's like 3 of the 4 people here are not like action heroes like Indiana Jones is. Which I think is what makes it great. You can't take anything so seriously because of the comedy. That's what makes it fun and inviting. I'm not sat here like, oh my god, what if fucking Henry Jones gets executed by a Nazi in a tank? He's not going to be, because Salah on a camel and Marcus Brody's going to show up and do the little handshake, and it's
oh my god,
nothing's too serious, which is constantly inviting and constantly endearing.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Temple of Doom was serious. Indiana Jones gets mind possessed. They're drinking the blood of Cali. They're pulling hearts out. This one's like just not quite. There is stakes and there is like things that could happen, but it's just so light enough that it's also as equally as like, oh, I want to know what's happening next. Like endearing and fun. I want to watch it for the plot. I want to watch it for the characters. I want to watch it for the comedy. It doesn't miss a beat.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree. Number one, undisputed champion.
Number one, it's undisputed. There's just no way that was ever going to change.
Yes.
I respect people who put Raiders first, because I get it. Especially because pretty much everybody who puts Raiders first puts Last Crusade second.
Well, yeah.
Those
It'd be dumb not
two
to.
reign, King and Queen undisputed.
Yes.
Which is what's interesting about Indiana Jones.
Should have stopped after it.
I mean, yeah. So then there's the dark period.
Especially because it's so long.
Yeah,
Just stop. Just don't do it.
There's such a gap between 3 and 4, which is weird because there was so many scripts for 4 and there was so much going on with 4. And then, you know, we eventually get to Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
And the Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls. Because there is more than one skull. Spoiler.
There's multiple skulls. Graham,
Yeah.
it's a really good movie.
I just can't agree. It's not really good. It's like good with a beer. I don't know.
No, I'd say
It's like a fun time.
Graham, this is my 3rd favourite movie.
No.
See if you caught me on a particularly rambunctious day.
Don't even say it's your second favourite movie.
It could be my second
No
favourite.
fucking way.
On a rambunctious day.
Oh,
He's glowing, but he is
that's
literally-
like-
his glasses are
that's
all-
just when you've went, I'm just goblin mode
he's
today.
went off
This is.
the deep end,
There's
bro.
no way.
It depends on how rambunctious I feel. I might be a bit merry, I might be a
You're
bit
just like,
jovial.
oh, do you know what? I just really love Kate Blanchett. She's the second best Indiana Jones villain ever.
Well,
She's getting in there.
I love this movie a lot. I think it's shameless nostalgia, to be fair.
Possibly.
Because I think, I wonder if
Listen, it's not episode 3.
it's not episode 3.
Because episode 3 is actually good. IMO.
Well, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is actually good. IMO.
No, but like good in a different way. Like I would actually actively go and watch 3 just because I wanted to watch it, not because I was like, oh, I'm reliving my childhood. I wouldn't go back to watch this unless I was watching it with all the Indiana Jones movies.
Oh, no.
Like I would go back and watch Raiders, Temple,
I would
Crusaders.
rewatch Kingdom before I would watch Temple. I think I saw this in the cinemas, maybe even before I saw the others.
Yeah,
I think I
I
saw
saw
this was
it.
my
I saw
first
Raiders
one.
first. I probably saw them all in order. Probably.
I think I saw it in reverse. And I just remember being so into it. I remember just really enjoying everything about it. I got all the toys, all
You
the
know what?
Lego.
I can like see it though because it's better than 5. So
Wow.
as an intro, it's infinitely better.
You could start with 4, yeah.
Yeah, and you'd be in. You'd
I
be
said
like,
before
oh, I want to see
4's
these now.
more about Old Man, but he's also not sold that he's like 5 is literally like Indiana Jones a geriatric old fuck.
Yeah,
It's past his prime, and that's a
Yes.
bad time to start. 4's like he's roughed it a wee bit, but do you know what? He's
Aye.
still got it.
yeah.
I just feel to see what people think is that wrong with 4. Okay,
Let's go through it.
like bit by bit.
Opening scene is great.
I think the opening scene is great. It's good that we go back to that archive fairly.
Yeah,
The introduction to India, I think a lot of people have agreed that the introduction to India in this is maybe one of the best. Just like the slow burn and he picks up the hat from behind and it's like, oh dude, it's Indiana Jones.
there he is.
Ray Winston's in this movie.
Oh shit, quadruple agent.
Going back to that archive was like a good idea. We never needed to see it. The idea of it existing, like, oh man, they put not only
They
did
put all the
put
shit
the arc
there.
here, but there's like a fucking bunch of stuff here.
Yeah,
So the idea of like just go back there
yeah.
for some reason was
Mess
always
about.
great.
Yeah,
I think you said it as if it was joking, but fucking Kate Blanchett is great.
she is great. I'm not saying she's not.
I think she is one of the best parts.
That's
of this
why
movie.
I'm saying you would put it second because she's so good. You'd put it second.
I'd put it second for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, I know, but she's good. She's really
She's
good.
just one of the reasons I think is the easiest to like. I think we could all agree.
Yeah,
Like I think she's probably one of the better villains.
yeah,
So if you look at the villains, like Belloc is great,
Mm.
constantly snide, constantly against Indy.
yeah.
I think his motivations is a bit like he's just like I just want to get it and do it for like power or like.
And I'm
maybe
like, I'm a
missing
better
bit.
archaeologist than you.
Yeah,
lol.
he's got better motivations than some. Mola Ram like sucks.
Bro, he's just trying to like raise the cult. Let's
He's
go.
just like a cult leader.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. To
Not
be
that
fair.
he's like bad. He's just like, you know, he doesn't have like a endearing
Yeah.
or long form. He's just a
He just
cult
wants
leader.
this cult to rule, bro. Let's go.
Donovan,
As a jobber.
yeah, you know what I mean. I'm not saying he's.
But he's just out
weak
for
or
himself.
flawed.
He's not like, I love the Nazis. He's
Yeah,
like, they're going to help me get
Donovan's
to
great
this.
because of that like back and forth of like
Yeah.
I'm like working with Nazis for my own, but the same was like Belloc really.
Aye, aye.
You could argue that Donovan's more of a Nazi than Belloc is. Donovan just like is literally kicking about with them. Like Belloc constantly almost tells the Nazis like, I'm just helping you so I can get the arc.
Yeah, well, like, when they go to take it, Belloc's like, no, we can't we need to do this.
Yeah,
Like he's
Belloq's
upset that they're putting it in a box, travelling it all the way.
exactly, which is quite endearing and interesting. Is like using the forces, but he has his own agenda.
Yeah.
Donovan, I
You
think,
could almost see Belloq swapping at the end of the film, like to Indy's side. Aye, to like Indy's side. Like I could see that happening.
You could to a degree.
In a version of the movie.
Then Donovan's like, not for a negative, but like the opposite, where he's like, he's like constantly with the Nazis. He's like, the Nazis are like, give me money, and
they will get me to this.
They'll get their prizes. I want the eternal life.
Yeah.
And kind of Belloq's the same. He's like, I want the ark, and then you can have it. But like, Donovan's more like, he's always in. He's like, here, go take the fucking journal back to the Führer, take them back to the Nazis, go fucking work on it.
Yeah.
You get more Nazis, Team Nazi, and it's like, oh my god, like Donovan is like such a bam.
Yeah.
Such a self-centered like bam, and he's so egotistical because he's so like enamored with like the visuals of culture. Because obviously when Indy goes to his apartment or whatever, and he's like got all these like fancy just jewels and shit up, and he's like, I just love the visuals and like the theme of it. But then
try to find that eternal life.
The only thing that I want, I will literally team up with the Nazis to get, and these Nazis then. Indy, you know, these guys, you just don't understand them, which I think is cool and wild. And I think Irina Spalko is
the Russians.
Great because, first off, she's like a villain direct from the source. Donovan and Belloq aren't inherently Nazis. There are Nazi villains in those movies.
Yeah.
But like, Irina Spalko is just fully a communist Soviet, like proper Red Scare, like Dos Vidania Stalinite.
Right.
She's cut from the cloth. Like Hitler was in 3, but Hitler wasn't the villain of 3.
Right.
Well, I mean, Hitler's the villain of like the real world. Like he has he has. I was gonna say something truly abysmal. I was gonna say Hitler's the real world Thanos, but like that's just terrible.
Damn,
just
man.
Equivocating like a real tragedy with like fucking Purple Avengers, man. Do you get what I mean? Like, Belloq and Donovan aren't actually Nazis. The Nazis are just the force by which their evil is expunged because the Nazis are evil.
Right, yeah.
Like, Spalko is... If Spalko was in a last movie, she would just be, hello, I'm a Nazi for Germany.
Yeah.
Like, she's, hello, I'm a Soviet for Russia.
Yes.
And I think that's fun. I love how she dresses. I love her little bowl cut. I love that she's like, oh, do you know what I fucking love? Swords.
I fucking really good at fencing.
And she's got a motivation to do it, both within the personal and the cultural side. She's like, oh, we're gonna like fucking, I want to know everything. I want to learn because I'm a scholar and I want to learn. And the Crystal Skull, the secrets of Akator, can like do that for me. And also that will then help benefit the fatherland and like the motherland. What was it the Russians called?
The motherland.
Russia, the motherland, yeah. Well, either way, just they can benefit.
Yeah.
Just the Soviet regime. I think, you know, pivoting to the Soviets as a villain was like completely, like the Nazis are gone. So like, who are the next Nazis? Well, not quite the next Nazis, but yeah. Red Scare, Cold War, Soviets, let's go. I thought everything about the villains was great. Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, damn, you don't like Shia LaBeouf?
No, I made a face because I had to test the waters because I didn't know if you liked Shia LaBeouf.
I like Shia LaBeouf. I like Shia LaBeouf in general.
I think Shia LaBeouf...
As a performer.
You know, at this point of his life, you know, these days is a bit strange, but I really like Shia and I really like Mutt. And I think a lot of people at the time didn't because he was very rambunctious and very like, I'm the cool young kid and you're the dumb old man. And
it's the young'un that we never get.
Yeah. But then I wonder if the movie ever really believed in that.
I think so.
But I don't know, the end of the movie where he goes to pick up the hat and like, has, like the Indy then grabs it. He's like, no son, that's my hat.
Well, I'm guessing, we're going to make another movie in 2 years and it's going to be Indiana Jones and it's not going to be
What I heard 4 was like always like
gonna be
even when 4 was having its early scripts. So there's Indiana Jones and it's like the Martian Men for Mars or something.
Right.
And then there's Indiana Jones and I think it's just literally Jones in the City of Gold.
Right.
It's got a really cool name actually. And that one literally has like Indiana Jones hides in a fridge to like survive a nuke or something. Like literally, I'm pretty sure the Crystal Skulls are relevant. It's kind of the same movie, and that one ended with him getting married to Marion as well and just sort of living happily ever after,
right,
or something like that. I think I'm picky and choosing, and can be disproved on that, but it's still the scripts for going up to actual King of the Hill were all actually quite similar, but they all seem to be definitive. Right. So I don't truly believe they thought they were going to come back and do 5 after 4.
Right.
I think 4 was a great ending. 3 had them all ride off into the sunset, and you didn't need to make another movie. 4 actually had an ending. He made up with his lover. And he's getting married. He has like a strong relationship with his son. It seems like a bit more of a complete place. We could say that, you know, I'm not saying he stopped adventuring, but Indy is in a happy, secure place. He's actually achieved emotional development and he's reached like a secure like place in his life. He has like support, he has love, he has all the sort of things he needs. He's not really missing anything. Because in the first few movies, the whole love aspect is weird. Like he was lovers with Marion, and then in the first one he gets back with Marion and he just disappears. And then he has like the weird sexy thing with Willie in the first one. Second one, oh god, I hate that Temple of Doom's a prequel and I just keep forgetting. And then he has like flirtatious with Elsa, but she's a Nazi.
I think it's just like They're just trying to do Bond
Yeah, but I don't
and
think
change up every time.
that's why I like how Marion ended up becoming like the fixture, because I
Yeah,
don't think
well,
it
I think
needed to be
we're
Bond.
past it by that point. They're like, oh, we don't need to do Bond now. It's
I suppose
like
you're
20
that late in the
years
day,
later.
aye. And that was like almost like bringing it back, because obviously Kingdom of Crystal Skull was like a return to roots again.
Mhm.
It was like a, let's make sure to keep it in line of like Raiders of the Lost Ark, because
Yeah.
that was good. We don't need to like try and dilute it again.
Aye.
I think the only thing that like really bugs me, and I'll always not give the flowers to, is some of the effects work is a bit too hokey. There's some moments in this that are quite hokey.
Really?
Mutt swinging through the trees with the monkeys.
I think that was that bad.
It looks fake though, and it just
Yeah.
is a bit like, I don't know. There was something about it that I'm like, alright. And this is the guy who likes the movie.
This sold me more than 5.
Yeah,
Can't have been that bad.
that sucks a wee bit actually. That it still is better than 5 in my eyes. Yeah.
This sold me more than 5. I don't know. I think it maybe overstays its welcome. I think it's a bit overlong.
What is your issue? Do you think it's a bit long?
I think it's a bit long. Oh, that may just be my biggest problem. I'm just not like as attached to the journey maybe. With the Crystal Skull, I'm just not that into it, which is weird because it's like psychic TK shit, which would be kind of cool, I think.
Yeah, I think it's cool, but it does suffer from, I don't know, because there's a lot of like, it's really great. It's another good like, there's another thing to talk about Temple of Doom versus the Shankara zones are just sort of there. We learn about their lore, but there's no like quest to get them and no mystery behind them.
Aye.
They are just there, and we sort of learn why they're there and how they got there and what they are. But like, Indy doesn't need to fucking solve the riddle to unlock the map to the key that unlocks the room where they all are. I saw people commenting saying that this was actually another solid good bit. There's a great like, okay, well there's that conquistador, and like we know that he must have took it, so we had to find his grave, and then his grave. I don't know whether it's cool or weird that the skull is what leads them through Akator and all that.
Yeah.
I like this is psychic. I like that. Okay, so up until the ending, it's never so obvious.
Right.
It's just sort of like it's drones and it makes you feel things and you can maybe see things, and if you're just too exposed to it, you go insane, like John Hurt, who's in this movie and he's great. 3 times it drops. Fucking love him. It does, I guess, everyone really has a bit of an opinion about the fucking aliens.
Bro, I love aliens. I don't know, man.
Do you like the aliens?
I don't know. What do you not like about them?
I don't not like them.
What do you really like about them?
I don't know.
We both don't know.
I'm always a big fan of like advanced civilizations. Always like, these people like back then they had all this wild shit. How did they have that? I like the idea of them almost going like, how we always joke it's aliens? No, it fucking was aliens.
It actually was aliens this time.
But it's like psychic aliens.
But it's like knowledge, right?
I think it's just because it's a leap in it. Aliens are like a different breed than like mysticism.
Yeah.
Mysticism's steeped in the unknown. Even when you see like the Ark open or like the grave make Donovan old, it's still like, how does that happen?
Aye.
Aliens are like, it was aliens.
That's like a thing. That's like a being.
That's a fucking thing. There's a guy there.
Yeah.
And he's got a UFO.
Aye.
Like, aliens did this. But I like aliens.
I mean, I like aliens too. X-Files, let's go. But like, I don't know, man. I don't know if it gels with Indy. That's maybe the issue. But it seems right up his alley.
There's always going to be,
so I don't know.
Even for me who loves it, a little
do you know what it might
crack
be,
in
right?
the armor, like, yeah.
It's because like aliens seem quite like new.
Yeah,
so
aliens are like the future, not the past.
Aye. So like
to
like tie it back makes sense because people say that, like Pirates about aliens, stuff like that. But like, I just don't think it jives well in this movie.
What's weird is like this one almost is like a future thinking movie though, because it has like it very much grounds itself in its time period. It's got like the nuke testing and like the 50s, like it's got the diner and the greaser aesthetic. So it's almost like interesting to me that the pure Mystic MacGuffin is more of a future thinking like civilization thing, but it just never really 100% lands in the same way that even the one for Dial does. I prefer 4, but Dial manages to pull it back to like this is like a mysterious ancient thing, although Dial has its own issues which we'll talk about, but that's still like, it was a thing that like an old Greek man made and it's an old relic and it's about old stuff. As you said, this is like, you've hit the nail perfectly. Aliens are like new, aliens are future, aliens are tech.
Yeah.
And like lasers and electricity.
Aye.
And there's a fucking UFO in this movie. There's an actual, honest to God, Elanau, like little green men, Area 51.
Bro, they're not little, they're fucking enormous. They're like
big,
blue.
tall, like flesh grey men.
Weird.
And they just stare at Spalco and fucking blow her head up. Which a lot of people.
It looks like the Signs alien at the end when she like fucking zooms into her.
Oh god, aye.
Good man.
It's not really the same. Like Spalco, like getting like CGI dusted isn't the same as like Tote's head exploding and Donovan like aging 1,000 years in a minute, which but I still like it and I think it works. I like the whole like, you want all the knowledge? Here's all of the knowledge.
Yeah, here's your brain.
You take that. I still like it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it is nostalgia. You know, I try and catch myself in nostalgia, but maybe this is the one that gets through the cracks.
Damn. Fair.
But like, you
I'll
know,
have
you think
movies
it's
like
too
that
long.
too at some point.
It's anything else. It's too long. What else?
Bro, I don't know, like, I guess when we're discussing it, like, the alien thing isn't really clicking for me. I don't know if we needed, like, Marion on the journey. I feel like you probably need her for the ending. You need to have her there so we can have the ending. Maybe.
Like, I think Marion actually works really well. I like the, you know, she also disappears at the end of after Raiders, and you kind of like, whatever happened to Marion? And
Aye.
I like the fact that they basically have this movie, they make her so prominent as an addressing.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh, you fucking like left me, and oh no, there's a character arc here, and
Yeah.
she has a lot of like fun, silly moments. There's a lot of just fun, silly comedy in this. I think this one's goofier than a lot of the other ones.
Yeah.
Not in like an inherently bad way, but there's just a lot of like goofier moments. Marion just like getting super hot for Indy, just being like Indy about stuff, and again, Mutt with the Monkeys, while isn't bad, I think it's goofy.
Right, yeah.
I mean, maybe this isn't too bad, but like the bit where they're starting to singing sands, and Indy's like, oh, call it a rope, and they'll like, grab the rope, and then like Oxley comes up with the entire Russian army, and he's like
that scene doesn't need ham, because like they just escape and are immediately fucking captured again.
Yeah,
that scene like just doesn't exist.
There's a couple of moments in this film where like something happens, and then it's sort of like immediately undone.
Aye, like just go there. We don't need to escape. Oh, we're doing transport now.
Oh, but I really like grab the rope, Indy.
I mean, you can like it, I guess.
Joke in and put it somewhere else.
Oh man, maybe.
I like the boat chase. I think the river boat chase is great. So
boat chase is good. I think the maybe the like car chase into ants is a bit long. Like you could cut the car chase down. I like the ants bit.
Needed the ant. Oh, you think you like the ants bit?
I like the ants bit. I don't need the whole car chase to be that long though.
What do you think of like Mutt sword fighting her like over fucking two boats and that?
That was cool. That was a cool action bit.
I just think every time I see them, I'm trying to ask myself, why don't people like this? And I almost think maybe it's because it's just a bit too much for some.
Maybe.
But then, I don't know, it feels in the spirit of Indy, but then just with rougher effects, because I can feel the CG like pushing me against this.
It's like we're not want to commit to practical for stuff for some reason.
But then sometimes it's like so silly that could they even go back? Like, could they have Shia LaBeouf between two cars like sword fighting perfectly?
Maybe.
Could he?
Possibly. I don't know.
I'd like to see that.
He probably would have been up for it. Yeah.
I'm just curious. I think, you know, it's weird because you're obviously giving me reasons, but like people just don't like this movie.
And that's fine.
Alex, who Star Wars Explained, just constantly rates everything in this movie lower, and he just says just sort of because. Like, I just don't like this as much.
I mean, that you can do that.
It's a valid thing, I suppose, but I feel like a lot of people just generally like mark the movie down. But I never actually know what for, other than just I just don't really like this much.
Do you just feel bad for kind of making scores like that?
I do feel bad. I think it's a severely underrated movie.
Damn.
I watch it a lot of times. I've watched it on a rewatch, and I'm like, what was the issue with this movie?
Don't know, man. I'm in that camp. I just can't put my finger on it, but it's just not as good as the 03. It's at least better than 5. I'll give you that.
You like Temple of Doom more.
I do.
And I don't.
And that's fair. We need to live in that world. But I'll tell you what we don't like as much as any other ones: Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Yeah, I think ruminating on it is probably the worst one.
Yes.
Let's give it a fair do. So, like, Indiana Jones 5 is good.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. I walk out of the cinema and I'm like,
I'll say good. Caveat, bang average.
I'd say it's above average.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's completely average because there's a lot of things I liked about it, but there's also...
It might be indie credit you're giving it there, but I see what you're saying.
Well, I've indicated by that, as long as it does certain things right. But then, alright, okay. So, we're now in Dial of Destiny, so spoilers.
We're in D of D.
We're in D of D. My god, Lord of D.
Lord of D. Flip of summoning D.
Oh my god. We've turned up our Lord of Dial into attack mode.
Oh.
Yeah, we're in spoiler mode. So we're just going to go...
We're going to rip it for you.
Looking at what we've said about the past few movies.
Yes.
So first off, Dial of Destiny is well directed, but it's not Spielberg. I just can feel it.
Oh, you can just feel it?
Mangold is good, but I just know it's not Spielberg.
Right.
But I'm willing to forgive it because there's still like good, nice things, good shots, good cinematography. So I'm willing to forgive it. But I think a lot of the other factors of the movie also don't help.
Such as?
Where we talked about how the way that we do action and effects works has changed.
Yes.
There's just a lot of unconvincing scenes in this movie.
Aye, and I don't know. I'm willing to give James Mangold some credit because the work on Logan isn't necessarily CG heavy. We're not going to do the action because it's the first time Wolverine's like R-rated, we can actually use some blood and guts. So we do get to see some action. So I'm willing to cut him some credit and think, oh, maybe the script's just not allowing for this kind of action and it's Harrison Ford who's like 85, can't really do it.
Yeah, that's the big things, obviously. As we've said multiple times, this is a movie about Indiana Jones being old and frail.
Yeah.
But, okay, well, do you know what? I'll get back to this anyway. Have you seen Logan? Have you seen 310 to Yuma or Ford vs Ferrari or what Girl Interrupted? So you've not really seen much of other Mangold films?
No.
See, cause
he did Girl Interrupted?
He did Girl Interrupted, yeah.
Damn, okay.
With Angelina Jolie?
Yep.
Yeah. Is that Angelina Jolie?
It is Winona Ryder, yeah.
Aye. So I watched a couple of videos about them because I've actually not watched them either. I've not even watched Logan, which is one of my glaring. It just.
Oh, bro, we'll do an X-Men-a-thon.
We should do an X-Men-a-thon, yeah. I've got
a rank thing for you.
Every movie up to, but
and
not
I'll
Dark
put
Phoenix.
them all S tier, even Dark Phoenix. Why not?
Just lethal to be around.
You know, yes.
Days of Future Past is unironically S tier. I
would say so.
I love that movie. It's good, but
he's a competent director.
I heard that he actually changed a lot of the script. I heard that when he came in, the script was like in his eyes worse.
This script was written by 3 people.
Yes.
One of them being Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who I respect as a writer.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's in charge of more of the comedy stuff in this movie.
Yeah, it depends on what she wrote. I think the comedy was fine. I got a lot of good laughs, actually.
She obviously wrote her character.
Yeah, I imagine she had a lot to say in Helena. It might even be controversial and weird, but I think Helena's probably like one of my favourite parts.
Yes, I'd say so. I think she's probably one of the best bits of the movie.
She's like a new type of like person. She's not like a love interest or like a frail heroine or that. She's smart, she's funny, she's very driven. There's a lot of interest about how she's like Temple of Doom Indy. She's like, no, I am here for the money. I'm actually explicitly here to con you and get me money. Yeah. Which is fun. It's a fun character. Mads Mikkelsen is good.
Mads Mikkelsen is my favourite villain, I think.
You think he's your favourite villain?
Aye.
I think he's quite strong. I think he's got great, like, the idea, like, the Operation Paperclip, like, he was a Nazi, and, you know, he's been, like, folded back into the US, and then how that interacts.
Still is a Nazi.
Still is a Nazi. I do like that he's got almost, like, a comedic ultimate goal of, like...
I'm going to beat Hitler too.
I'm going to use time travel to become a worse Hitler.
Yeah. I'm not going to time travel and kill Hitler. I'm going to time travel and become Hitler.
I'm going to literally supplant Hitler as like Omega Hitler, which is just like fucking insane and so like ridiculous in like the best way. Yeah. And his whole sort of goon squad, I like Boyd Holbrook a lot. I really like Boyd Holbrook.
Just as a performer.
As a performer.
Me also. Do you know what? Sandman. Do you know what? Predators. Cool.
Logan.
That happened to Logan. He's great in Logan.
Which I've not seen. But I just know he's in it and he's good for what I've seen.
Yes. Boyd Holbrook. Gold star.
What I think is my critical issue with this is, one is some of the CG, there's multiple scenes, the train... Okay, well, first off, let's take this element, because we actually need to discuss this. The prologue is obviously a flashback, and it's got the digitally de-aged Harrison Ford.
Sucks ass, IMO.
You think it sucks ass?
Yes.
I think it looks great, but the moment he starts talking, I'm out. I think he just does not sound right. He sounds like bored, uninterested, separate. I don't know if it's Harrison Ford. I don't know if it's like Harrison Ford with an AI. Like, you know, they did some weird AI stuff with Luke Skywalker and The Mandalorian. Aye. I think it was usually Mark Hamill reading a line.
Or an actor standing that looked similar enough.
Aye. And the AI did extra stuff on top to try and make it work. Every time I looked at it, there was a couple of shots where I'm like, yeah, it's obviously fake. And it's hard to get rid of the fact Harrison Ford's not that young.
Yeah. It did just look too uncanny. It looked like I was watching a CGI trailer for an Indiana Jones video game.
So you thought it was too far? You could
not. I was thinking about it because I was like, there's a couple of movies that have done this successfully or not. It's up to opinion, I think. I think The Irishman did it well. I believed Robert De Niro's de-age in that. It might be because it's no like trying to be an action romp like Indiana Jones.
It depends on maybe what they do with it. Because Indiana Jones, they obviously they carefully put in certain lightings and from certain angles.
Yeah. And they do just commit to the close-up. And I mean, there's close-ups in Irishman, to be fair. But that's the only version that I think's good, and like I believe that.
What about Rogue One?
Rogue One. That was good.
You thought
I think that was good.
Leia was a bit uncanny for me, but
Tarkin, I thought Tarkin was really good, yeah.
You know, when you talk about how they use it, Irishman's obviously prestige high-end. Let's talk about the Marvel movies. The Marvels look really weird because they occasionally chuck it in a very good way. Captain Marvel with Nick Fury.
That was good.
And
I don't think that was an issue.
The one that I really get is fucking Ant-Man. Ant-Man the Wasp and Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania with Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer. Like, those were flawless.
I can't remember the scenes, but I don't remember having an issue.
That's completely fair. I even just check them out just to remind you. Yeah. Like, they're like weirdly flawless.
Yeah. I don't know what it is with this one then.
They're just short, emotional. They don't de-age Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer for a fight scene. They de-age them for like a scene at the house where they're talking to like a young Hope in that.
Aye. and those scenes being short might help it. That if this was short, I would still have an issue with it.
There's also the layers, I guess, to give them some credit. Michelle and Michael, they had a bit to go, but like it wasn't too bad.
They look as young as they could look
Pretty
to
much.
do it. It's no de-aging as much.
And then Samuel L. Jackson as well, like he already looks fucking beautiful. He does not look like he's aged.
Exactly.
So they almost didn't even need to do much for him. They could have just made up him to look younger.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford is old and
Yes.
wrinkly. and
Doesn't
he is-
look like what it used to look like
That's
anymore.
Indiana Jones 2, Indiana Jones 1, and like that's a different man. And
Yeah.
I think he's still aged quite well, but he's just visibly.
Yeah,
not
man.
a
For
guy.
like however old he is, when he gets top off, he's shredded. He's not like
Yes,
Stallone
actually,
or
yeah,
like
actually,
Arnie,
yeah.
but he's in pretty good shape.
Indiana Jones has done a number on him.
Yeah.
He loves doing these movies, to be fair. You gotta give him that credit.
I mean, that's fair.
Because they spent a lot of fucking money on this de-aging.
I mean, I don't even know what the box office is at right now. I don't know what the budget was total, but I don't think it was worth it in the end.
I think you can categorise it as a flop.
Yeah.
I think the budget was like 300, 400, and I think the returns
That's
right
pretty
now are
much,
like
isn't it?
between like 120 to 150, 70. I've not checked the numbers recently.
I mean, a lot of that's probably inflated by having to do the de-aging, which costs a bomb.
Like as I say, I'm pretty sure the de-aging was 150, 200.
Yeah, it's like half a budget already.
Would be ridiculous to emphatically state that entire movie, half of it was de-aging, but it might have been because it was just that. And there's so much of it. And I think it looks good. You just can't go with that kind of that. I still think, it loses me the moment it speaks.
Mm-hmm.
That in itself doesn't work.
Yeah.
And some of the I don't know, it's up and down. I thought that was a really fun, interesting scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when he's working his way through the train, he has like these disguises as the Nazi. And
They kind of all start like a bit like that. Last Crusade starts and it's young Indy and it's a callback, and then it goes straight into him later with the same artifact. This one, it's like we'll throw it back, show where it comes in to Indy's life, and then how we go.
This is interesting because it's literally like every other one. Because famously, these movies all just start with
Like a big ass set
the
piece.
end of a last adventure.
Yeah.
The fertility idol, the iconic like temple boulder chasing that, which is technically not related to the Ark of Covenant other than Belloc gets him on that one. Temple of Doom's like it's a different narrative, but it
It's the end of the exchange. Yeah.
causes.
Aye.
As you said, the I3's like sort of like starts with a different artifact, but it's still relevant. 4 was kind of like 2, where it's sort of a different. No, it's not. 4 is like 5, where it's directly related.
Yeah.
It's sort of in a different place doing a different thing, but it's to get the alien.
And it's not
parts.
like we don't like. Well, I suppose 1 and 3 are also, well, 1's linear as well, so it's kind of more like 1 where it just follows that story one. Like 3 jumps back in time, forward in time, and then we continue on.
Yeah, I feel like I should dislike 3's more because it feels like so much like, oh, here's just young Indy and how he get his hat, and I feel like it's one of the least related to the rest of the movie. Like I say, 1's a completely different story, but it still has the through line of like Belloc and Indy's rivalry.
Well, it's kind of like it's like oh, it's to show Indy always like young, rambunctious.
He's always been this way. He's
Then
always
he gets the artifact. Oh, Dad, look, I've got Hold It Junior. I'm reading this fucking critical
through line
book.
with his dad. Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, it's who you know, kid. This guy, I'm getting it for him. This artifact.
It
Then
speaks a lot about
bang,
his
cut to the
character.
boat. Great scene, yeah.
It was great. Last Crusade was a really good movie.
Fuck man, Last Crusade's great, wasn't it?
But I like the opening to 5.
Yes.
I think it's
I just think if it wasn't the aging, I'd have less issues with it completely.
that's fair, but then what would they have done?
I don't know.
They could have got geriatric
just don't know.
Harrison Ford running on that fucking.
That
train.
was him.
That was him.
He said he filmed the scenes. Like the DH scenes, it's him sat there.
Really?
That's what he said. Red carpet interview. He's like, I was in there, filmed the scenes, then made CGI whatever of me.
That's so weird. He's so old.
I know.
Well, good for. Do you know what? Good for him. Always having fun. I didn't get the de-aging with the voice. I think some of the shots were out hokey. Some of the nighttime train shots, although I don't.
I think the train scene goes on too long.
Yes, it does go on a bit too long. Do you know what? Let's just put that down. I think one of the harshest immediate criticisms is this movie is far too fucking long.
It is far too long. I was going to say that, yes. I think Crystal Skull's too long. This is definitely too long.
Yeah, Crystal Skull just feels too long for you. This is emphatically like,
This is
oh
just
my
too
god,
long.
end the film.
Yes. Like, I actually just, like, I wish we could cut, like, I love Antonio Banderas, right? I wish we could just cut that scene, that whole section.
Well, I don't agree.
It's integral, but, like, I wish it just didn't need to be there.
I think
Because it takes too long.
if they were going to cut anything,
It'd be the whole tuk-tuk race.
well, here's the problem. That's a good scene. That's a
It's on
good.
too long, though.
It does go on a bit too long, but it's like a good classic Indiana Jones chase scene. I think the
It's
whole.
like the only one in the movie, yeah.
I think we should move it to somewhere else. Maybe if we could find an organic
Right.
place to put it,
Aye.
because like maybe we didn't need the whole framing device of like the going to the auction and all that.
Right, yeah. We could just chase Helena there.
Yeah, the whole stuff with Antonio Banderas and going under the sea. I think that's one of the most fun and interesting parts of the movie. It's one of the first, like, one of the good
Like,
bits
oh,
of the
we're
movie.
going to go find the thing.
Yeah, it's like a proper, we're digging through ruins, we're like chasing an artifact, you have to go to the boat because they stole the disc and the disc will tell us where the bit is. I saw a lot of people talk really fondly of like the snakes in this movie, why they have to be snakes, are water snakes, they're eels.
Yeah.
The whole like joke, they're just like snakes but underwater, and I'm like, that's a great bit.
It's like, damn it.
I think
snakes
Antonio
again.
Banderas just was weird to be there, but it's not unlike other. There's some characters in Indiana Jones that are just sort of there. Although
Yeah.
this movie still has a lot of characters that are just sort of like there and then go and then come back. I actually agree with this thing that, again, Star Wars explains, that Alex pointed out. The movie's very morbid. Like, they fucking just kill a lot of innocent people. Like, the Nazis just shoot the professors, like, bang, bang, blood, gun, you're dead. Like, and he finds the corpses of his co-workers.
Nazis.
They kill all Antonio Banderas' crew and then Antonio Banderas.
I guess it feels more like real these days, because like if they were to do that in the old movies, like death in old movies doesn't really feel like death.
Yeah, no one really who matters dies, and when they do it, sort of like, oh my goodness.
I know, like the doctors like don't matter in this movie. The
I know,
professors, it just feels a bit more serious.
It's because it's just like they maybe don't matter, but they're still emphatically innocent.
Yeah.
Some people who are unrelated to this just get fucking brutalised for no reason.
Straight murdered.
Like, the Nazis didn't need to literally gouge all of the crew that Antonio Banderas
Like,
got.
they're already Nazis.
Like, he could have just shot his other leg and like, man, like, if you want me incentive, I'll kill him. But no, they want, no, bang, 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 bang. He's dead. Now you have to do it for me. And I'm like, oh.
Oh.
And then there's a bunch of other folk that just get like shot by the Nazis. And my partner said,
I honestly wasn't as bothered by that.
well, my partner said they're Nazis, and I'm like, yeah, but
Yeah.
you don't need to explain to me why Nazis are bad.
Yeah,
They're Nazis.
they're already Nazis.
Like, it's in the name.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not like bothered by it, but like Alex said, it does sort of like leave like a whoa. Like, it's so they don't need to be this brutal. It's unnecessary brutality.
Yeah. I think they're trying to like fit with the tone, like the
Yeah,
tone
just
of it,
be
like
more
it's just.
Mangold type thing.
I don't know if that's it, or if it's like the writing and it together paired, or it's like we need to send Harrison Ford off and we need to do this big epic like take on Indiana Jones being old, and I just don't buy it.
Yeah, so that's where I come in, because apart from how long this movie is, my biggest critique with it is it felt meaningless. Maybe not meaningless. A lot of people talk about this movie as like, oh, it talks about Indiana Jones being old, and it sort of just touches those issues. It points them out, goes, man, Indiana Jones is old. But this movie to me had no through line, it had no real key emotional movement. Every other
It's
movie,
got no heart.
It's got no heart. It's got his soul.
Get his
It's
soul.
a cash grab remake.
Ah, awful.
You know, every other movie had like a very crucial like drive, and they had something to say about both the mystery of the artifact, but then also Indy,
What
as a
the
person,
quest is about.
like love, family, you know, relationship with his dad, his relationship with his son, what he gains, what he loses. Indy doesn't really do anything or have any sort of thoughts in this movie until he
He's
just sort
like-
of suddenly does.
He's like on this quest with Helena because he feels some sort of responsibility because he didn't actually destroy the dial.
Yeah,
Like, why?
but why didn't he destroy it?
Because he loves artifacts, and that's just against my being as a core.
Fucking loves artifacts, bro.
Yeah, it's like I cannot destroy this ancient piece of history. I can't do that.
It's-
And I get that. I understand that. I get why he wouldn't destroy it.
Yeah, I get why he would destroy it. I'm asking more to like try and explain the whole thing to me. I get why he didn't destroy it, but then it's like, because they don't really make the movie about him and Helena, other than just sort of like giving them like what feels like they required, like Helena and Indy don't get along. Helena and Indy are slightly get along. Helena and Indy have now reached common ground. It's not like before where it's like, it's my son. Oh, surprise, it's my son. And
Yeah.
you know how that paints. He had this formative relationship with Mutt, and then the father-son reveal was like, oh, that changes everything. Now I'm like stricter, but then I've not been in his life, and then they just reach to a common ground at the end. This one, like, they don't. Example is the movie about him and Helena. It's kind of similar to just him and his goddaughter. It's just him and his son again, but they don't make as big a deal out of it.
Aye.
There's like, they touch upon like grief and loss, I suppose. Like, Indy's old, he's lost Marion, he's lost Mutt. Like,
Yeah.
he sort of like doesn't feel like he's quite in it, but I feel like they never quite.
Yeah, and yeah, it's
Deliver on
like I see what you're saying when they just like kind of touch it. Like they don't, like when he says, "I split up with my wife because my son went to Vietnam and was killed, brutally murdered. If I could go back in time, that is the one thing I would change." And then that's it.
Aye, he's like, I'm definitely sad about that, and then they just sort of leave it at that.
I remember reading or hearing Harrison Ford saying this movie is like what's it like to be Indiana Jones 85, and we're just gonna really deal with that. And like you're right, we just didn't.
Aye, they just sort of touch on it.
Aye.
They do mention it, so you kept thinking about it because like, oh man, Indy's old. Indy's retiring as a professor.
Yeah.
He's not really doing Avengers anymore, and they just don't do anything They like put it in front of you, and then you're waiting for them to sort of like maybe come to a sort of a more solid like point or conclusion about it, and they just don't. I guess the main conclusion is Indiana Jones 6 years old and can't do an adventure.
Yeah.
And then he does an adventure.
Aye. And at the end, I'm like, oh, miserable.
Yeah.
I'm sad
So,
because Indy's old.
The ending of the movie as well. So this is the double down on the spoilers. This is like the biggest spoilers. So the dial
Works.
The dial works.
Quotes.
It's functionally a time travel device.
Yes.
We were dreading it being time travel since the inception of the movie, and every time we got close to it, they basically stopped short of. I mean, I was dreading it. I know a lot of people were dreading it, and they basically like James Mangold was literally in an interview was like, it's probably a thing that does time travel. It's basically time travel. I'm like, okay, so it's a fucking time travel movie.
What is like the issue with time travel?
The issue with time travel, I think, is that it just.
Is that no one can be Back to the Future because we've done it already?
Well, yeah, that you had time travel is just a very, very tricky thing to do because it's then what do you do with it and what meaningfully can you do with time travel? And I think this movie fails to do something
anything meaningful with it. Yes.
Like because it depends on where you're putting it. Indiana Jones, you said we agreed on this. I think that time travel's a bit too much of a leap to actually do time travel.
Aye.
Like Indiana Jones goes back to the past in this movie.
Yeah.
And that just feels like a bit too far because time travel is it's a very delicate concept. You have so many rules and you need to make sure you're doing it for a good purpose. And this one didn't really do that in my head. Well, okay, the villain had a more compelling like arc and conceptual narrative than Indy did in my head. Like Volar's whole, I would go back and I found the thing I was going to do it. And I went back, but it wasn't quite right. It turns out like his whole
reason is like, I can't find the lance. I found the fake lance. And I've got this secret weapon. The Dial of Destiny. I think Hitler wants this. This is the best weapon, but he just won't trust me. And then after he gets through the war, he's like, I've done it. I've cracked it. I've found it all. And now I'm going to go back and I'm going to be the best. And
yeah. To be honest, I don't think it was that Hitler didn't trust him. He wanted to show it to Hitler, but the other Nazi was like, no man, like Hitler's like, because this was like right at the end of the war. Hitler's insane, and you're gonna say, oh hey sir, the lance of the spear that touched Jesus Christ was fake, but I do have this fucking watch.
Yeah, bro.
I guess they never really get to like. You just have to assume that he's a Nazi. Nazis are Nazis.
Yeah.
He fails, but he sits germinating on it. It's a bit like Arnim Zola in Winter Soldier, where he's like, hey, I'm still a Nazi and I fucking love being one, and then I'm just going to like help the Nazis come back secretly.
Ooh.
The whole time travel thing, I guess, makes sense inside that guy's like whole thing of like, this is what I want to do, and then the whole twist of like, oh, he fucked up the numbers, and they don't go back to 1930s Germany, they go back to like ancient Greek time.
Yeah.
I liked it. I kind of like I'm like, oh yeah, fuck Volar, like Volar's lost, he's made a mistake. Okay, I don't know, I'm getting really weird about this because I conceptually both don't like this, but every time I think about it, I like aspects of it. I like the big plane flying through like Greece. I like them Nazis getting stabbed by like Roman spears and them being like, oh, this fucking flying behemoth, this phoenix that shoots, this dragon that shoots fire. I just think where it is in the Indiana Jones movie with Indiana Jones, I'm like, why are we doing this? Why are we here?
Right.
I almost wish if they were going to do the time travel, they should have simply like skiffed it. Like they just barely time travel a wee bit.
Right.
Because I think that's the whole, we've went too far. Like the arc opened and there was ghouls in it and then we shut it and that was it.
See, I think to do it, you should have just done it right at the start. And then
time traveling the whole thing.
No, not necessarily the whole thing, but like do it and then we have to deal with it.
Well, the consequences are
Aye.
Okay. I think it's just
because it resolves quickly here, and I don't like how it resolves. I would have liked it to just not be the way it happened.
Yeah, do you know what? Actually, yeah, because I think I'm going to prattle a bit, but I'll get that in. So yeah, the whole resolution is like the Nazis crash and die because they're Nazis and they get shot by Roman spears or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Indy's like shot and dying, and he's like, I'm going to just stay here in the past.
Yes.
Because I like the past, because I've like put my life in it, I guess.
Yes, I can live in history here. How awesome would that be for a send-off for a great action hero we've had for so many years? I get that, but if they were going to do that, I wish it was anything but how they did it. Like, dying of a gunshot wound next to, like, the sacking of Syracuse. If he was going to, like, live timelessly in history, I would have liked to have, like, a nice, like, villa in, like, fucking Pompeii, pre-eruption. Yes, maybe.
But this is just like, no, Indiana Jones is going to become we're going to stop looking at him for 5 minutes and he's just going to fall down dead.
Maybe.
And then like Archimedes comes up and he's like, it's me, famous historical figure Archimedes.
What's up?
I'm here and I'm relevant. And it's like, okay. And you see like Helen and Indy on like one of the worst green screen effects I've seen in a long time. That was my biggest like, there's just a shot where they're looking at Helen and they see the background and the island is just not real. It's fake, it's fiction.
I didn't even think I looked that bad, to be honest. Well,
not all the shots, but there was one concrete shot. It's the shot, reverse shot, like Archimedes, and it's like Helen and Indy looking at Archimedes. And it's like, just, they're not on they're on a soundstage. I'm usually good at skipping this, and there's times when there's been quote unquote obvious CG that like I missed and never really cared about. But see, sometimes I think if it just gets quite so bad, it's so noticeable. But I'm also already having a weird time because. So you think he should have stayed in the past?
I just think that's just a nicer send off. Because when we go back to the future, it's shit.
Yeah, I guess
His life's ass. Why would they want to be there?
I don't think he should have been left in the past, but at the same time, yeah, like the ending of the film, I think is bad.
Yes.
I think so. They go back to the present,
And you know what? We could have like actually ended it good, even if we went back there.
Yes.
Like, here's my actual ending that I've headcanoned myself.
Time.
Fan fact, right? So it goes back, boom. Same kind of stuff happens, we make up with Marion, and then we just fucking fuck off to like a villa somewhere. We've got like a wee mural to Mutt, you know, we're chilling there. He's teaching like a school somewhere, seeing out his days. That would be nice.
Yes. What the ending lacks, first of all, is finality.
Aye.
So they get back to the present, like he wakes up, he's like, oh god, I survived my gunshot wound. Helena's like, alright, well, I've got Marion back. And they have a wee cute moment together, they reference Raiders, and I like that because I like Marion, I like Indian Marion. But that's like it.
Yeah.
They don't like reflect on the situation in the relationship. They don't like resolve the anxiety about Mutt. Like Mutt is still dead, and that was still the thing that broke her apart. They don't like say anything about it.
They can't resolve it there because they just don't have enough time now. We've spent too fucking long on this movie already.
But I don't need a full. I just
I
need
know,
more dialogue.
I think it's fine though because they say everything will look, and then when she's like, oh, it hurts everywhere. He's like, where does it not hurt? That's great.
Yeah,
that's fine. They've made up there in my mind. It's fine. We don't need to speak about it. I don't need to see them speak about it. They will speak about it.
Made up. Like that's. Maybe I don't need to have a sit down heart talk. I just feel like there needed to be more dialogue that led to a resolution that just felt like we could leave. I don't know that Indy's really fucking resolved the situation with Mutt in his mind. He mentioned that he deeply regrets it.
Yes.
And then
but
he makes up Marion later.
Yeah, but he's left Marion because he couldn't deal with it himself. It's not like it's not Marion's the problem. He had to fix himself.
Nothing about what happens in this movie makes me now believe that he could deal with it. He just regrets it and he suffers and he's got personal problems and then he goes on an adventure. I actually think after that point, I can't think of a single character moment for Indy that really does anything for Indy as a person other than I want to stay on the beach and die and be part of history, but that's just unrelated to everything in my head. Other than I'm dying, just let me die how I want, fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, just like a shit character in this movie, isn't he? Like,
he's kind of shit. He's kind of just like,
I don't like it.
Old, and he has like no sort of like, his stakes are weird. He's like, I gotta go do this because like I fucking fucked up and I forgot to destroy it and I gotta like help my goddaughter, I guess.
Sure.
And it doesn't need to be. They just need to have more resolution and more like beats.
They just like should have went, this script isn't long. Sack it, we'll start again.
Oh my god. Pie it. We'll do a movie at Fate
listen, that should have happened 5 years ago, but we came to this day.
5 years ago.
Aye, and we're here now, and this is what we got, and I've got to say, I'm badly disappointed.
Oh man, I think we're just disliking it more the more we talk about it.
I think so. I just like, do you know what, like, I didn't need another one, right? It didn't need to exist. But if we were going to do it, like, we had to do it right, and we just fucking haven't done it right.
No.
We just have not done it right, have we?
That's why I think, 4, this is the Toy Story effect. 4 ended with, like, him getting
married. It
married.
ended enough. I didn't need another one. Okay, it's fine.
We knew he was in a situation where he could just continue to be happy.
Aye.
Like, he had a loving family, relationship with his son. We knew he, like, repaired his relationship with his dad. Unfortunately, his dad passed, but still, we knew he had, like, resolved emotional network. There's nothing at the end of 4 where I think, well, what about this?
Aye.
But this is the final movie that was supposed to end anything, and I'm thinking, like, but what about his, like, unresolved feelings about Mutt?
Yeah.
But, like, what did he actually experience? He's still got the dial. Like, is he going to do something with the dial?
It's like we need another one.
Yeah.
Like, we need the actual final one now.
They literally, like, told us this is going to be the last one, but I feel like coming at this, I'm like, I feel like they just set me up for another one.
Aye. I need, like, the fucking hard as nails HBO drama 6 episode Indiana Jones deals with his shit, like, series.
My god.
That's what I need now.
Need, like, the Last Jedi of Indiana Jones where
fucking
he's just
baby.
like what? A lot of people talked about this movie, oh, it's like interesting seeing your hero at an age, but that's why I'm saying it's not because they don't do anything with it.
Aye.
This is why, okay.
Hot take.
Last Jedi apologism.
Oh no.
Like, I'd never really had an issue with Luke in Last Jedi because they were like, yeah, he's old and jaded. First off, not just because of Ryan, but because of things that George Lucas and J.J. Abrams set up. But because we also are going to do something like that. We're going to have him have an arc and have a reason for everything. And even, like, you expect him to be the good hero and you're upset that he isn't. But the whole point of that movie is that he had a reason to not be and he still comes back and does it anyway and he grows. I don't want to go around in circles, but Indiana Jones just starts this movie. He's like, I'm old and I can't really do this anymore. And then Helena shows up, he's like, I gotta just do this again.
I was
and he
like,
does it.
Like, do you know what, right? Like, I do not like Luke Skywalker in episode 9, right? I don't think
8 or 9. Last Jedi's 8.
8. I don't like him in it, right? I don't think it should matter if Lucas had this idea or not, because after they put the character out, it's not theirs anymore. It's the people's.
But yeah, I'd say it's also...
They're attached to it in a different way.
It's Lucas had the idea of having him being a jaded hermit that needed to be pulled out of hiding by a female teacher.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams was the one that put him on an incredibly unfindable island in a way that didn't come back to save Han, didn't come back to teach Kylo. He just stayed on the island. Ryan had to go, why was Luke on an island?
Yeah.
Why was he not coming back and helping anyone? And like, we also know he fucked up because the info's when he's established, no, Kylo Ren destroyed the temple and Luke fucking fled. So J.J. Abrams set all this up based on stuff that like George Lucas had put down.
Listen, the sequel trilogy could have worked if they'd fucking spoke to each other, right? And like had a plan.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it would have been fine, probably.
I think Ryan Jones did a great job extrapolating, but yeah, like, it probably could have been better if they'd all talked a bit more.
Yeah.
Also, we need to talk more on it. We'll do an episode about Star Wars, and I really want to talk about dogmatic. You make a good point, because I actually don't believe we should just prescribe to what Lucas said, because Lucas said it.
And that's what I mean here, because like, I would have liked Ryan Johnson-esque take on Indiana Jones in this movie, where he just comes out and he's like, I told dick or something. Because I would have just respected it more.
This has been that long for Indiana Jones. It's like you should have expected him to be different.
Aye.
And then the journey is maybe getting back to how we all know and love him. That can be compelling.
Yeah.
Or as you say, just like finding a resolution point, finding
like,
an ending.
Do you know? Right, I'm about to write a better Indiana Jones movie right here. Okay, hot take, listeners.
Get ready. And everything. Oh my
Get
God.
ready. Right. So we meet Indiana Jones, and he's a bit fucking jaded. He's a bit stuck in his ways now. He thinks all these hip astronauts going up to space. Oh, that's like me. I used to be like that.
I do like that. I like that.
And
he's
then
a bit jaded about the astronauts.
And he meets this young pupil in his class, and this pupil's like big on this one treasure, and he's in with like the wrong crowd or something. He's getting sent on this like mission, and Indiana Jones like, you know what, I really like this kid. I'll follow him, help him out. Sees him in a fucking bad situation, jumps in, classic Indiana Jones action, right? Then the kid's like, oh my God, you're Indiana Jones, the legendary like archaeologist. You should team up. They go on a mad adventure. They find the thing. He learns how to be cool, hip, and like free life again. End of the movie.
Like you can still be the noble, the hero in there, you still do all the right things. You may be a bit old, so maybe you can't quite fly over holes, but you know, you can
Have
still...
a cool scene where he passes in the whip or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't even think they need to necessarily pass it on. I mean, the whip, people talk about passing on the hat, and I'm like, no, that's like his hat. Aye. You don't need the whip to be Indiana Jones. I suppose you don't need a hat either, but the whip's actually a cooler thing to pass on than the hat in my head.
That journey's better for me than, what's it like to be fucking really old and it's shit. Like, give me old, but he's recapturing his adventure.
Give me old, but they do something with it. Don't just give me old and it's like, I'm old, life sucks, I'm going on a fucking hip fracturing adventure.
Like, we should have the last hurrah and it be an actual last hurrah instead of having it be like, oh, I want to go back in time, I can't, and it's shit.
Sort of isn't, like, he does some cool stuff. Like, I like the scene, the whole sort of tomb scene up till they get to the second half of the dial when they're in like the cave under the climb up the back, and he's even talks about it. And there's like the whole puzzle and that. That's just good classic Indiana Jones. That's just him doing what he does best. But like this one feels the most like he's sort of been dragged along rather than like an active pursuit of or something.
Yeah, well, I think that's just a consequence of Harrison Ford being really old.
Yeah.
And Helena being like the driving force of the plot.
Yes, but they didn't need to be.
Well, no.
I mean, yes, Harrison Ford is old, you can't avoid it, but it still doesn't necessarily need to. Like, for example, he could have been much more invested in it. He like hates the dial, and he's like, I drove my friend insane, but I still didn't destroy it, and I still regret that.
And I'm not going to destroy it now. I could fix the plot if I fucking destroy it right now.
Yeah, like
the Nazi won't get it.
We
then.
need to stop the Nazis for getting it, but like
I'll destroy it. How about
that? So yeah. That is
Does break the
he has
for you.
plenty of times he has it, and he could just like fucking throw a rock at it, or like stuff a bit of dynamite in it, and he just doesn't. And I'm like, you just find another thing for Helena, you know what I mean? He just didn't need to be so irrelevant to this story. Like, he's sort of just there as Indiana Jones. And he has good parts, and I think there's some fun stuff with the character development, like with his interactions with Helena and Teddy. I don't know, I don't want to say it would have, like, he shouldn't have been there. I just don't see the point of it. Especially because it didn't say anything, it didn't really do anything with the things that they had there. Well, like his age, they didn't really do anything with his age. They just went, as you say, he's old and he's sad. And it ends with him being old and slightly less sad, but definitely still life kind of sucks in a lot of ways.
I agree.
And there was no finality to it. There was no, again, compared to the ending of 4, where they just didn't, at the end of them, it's like, okay, cool, he's making back up with Marion, but he's not like, at the end of 4, he got married to Marion, and they were smiling, and they were kissing, and this one, it's like, oh, hey, Marion, maybe we can start to repair the broken relationship.
Like, I'm sorry that our son died, and I was a dick about it.
I'm like, what does he do now? He's still retired from being a professor. He's still back in his, like, tiny little apartment where he just
Yep.
sits and drinks alcohol.
Mm.
This movie is fucking miserable.
Bro, that's what I'm
For
saying.
Indiana Jones, oh my god, you're
Insane,
right.
man. Like, we should have had some sort of bombastic return to form where he just like recaptures the spirit of old Indiana Jones, and it would have been awesome.
Seconds. I think all the stuff in Marrakesh was, or was it Marrakesh, or was it the tuk tuk chase area? I like the scene where he's in like the auction, he pure whips about, and then they'll pull out guns. That's like classic. He's like, he's still kind of got it. He's still trying to do it, but I don't know why he's still trying to do it. And he never really tell me why, and they never really give me a good reason or a good emotional through line other than just I'm old and miserable, and I'm here because I had to be. I'm contractually obligated to be here, and now my life's fractionally less sad, but definitely not like still sad. It's definitely still sad.
Yes, I still cry myself to sleep now. Rough one.
Damn, I didn't even think this harshly when I came out the cinema, but yeah,
So you just need to like work it out. Yeah, it's not
still
good.
don't even
Not good.
hate it.
Listen, I can turn it all off and just watch it and be like, that was fine.
It's like Temple of Doom for me in that there's a lot of like, just even if I can't deal with certain things, there's also a lot of good scenes that I like. I really like the horse chase, the horse like bike chase through New York. I mean, that was just, I was also seeing Glasgow and be like, oh, Glasgow, I know that. But that was just like a good classic Indiana Jones chase with some fun action. Tuk Tuk chase, as you say, it was a bit long, but it was still like, again, another good Indiana Jones chase scene with like some fun action, some fun
I feel like I
character.
actually lacked action.
The movie or the Tuk Tuk chase?
Yeah, the movie.
Yeah, I guess I can understand. Maybe again because of Harrison Ford.
Yeah, that's probably why.
The horse chase and the tuk tuk chase, but there's only like occasional scuffles. Like Teddy kills the Pat Roach character in this one, even though it's not Pat Roach, it's the big fucking really tall bodybuilding guy. Although I kind of thought that was a fun twist. Plus that kid fucking murders that guy.
Bro's fully drowned, man.
Like fucking handcuffs him to a grate underwater and just suffocates him to death. Like cool.
Damn, bro.
I guess there's action at the end, but there's something weird and impersonal about the action of like people dressed up as Romans like throwing spears at like a big Nazi plane, and like occasionally a Nazi gets stabbed and Boyd Holbrook's like screaming and shooting Romans.
Yeah, they fully jumped the shark at the end, though. Like,
Yeah, sort of jump the shark. Yeah. Now, that's what I'm saying about it. Not that time travel doesn't need to be there, but just they
to
really
go so
do run
far.
risks,
Yeah.
and they just failed. They didn't run the risk here. They failed. What do you call that? When you lose the risk, you take the risk and you fail.
You doubled down and you lost.
It's just like that. I don't think it's without any merit, but I'm
not-
struggling to find the merit.
It's not getting much from me.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm struggling to see it, and yeah, I see it also funny because like we're both reaching agreed results, even though we also completely disagree on certain things like the ending. I think he shouldn't have stayed,
Aye.
but it just should have been a better not stay.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that.
I suppose you agree with that. But then, would you rather he had a better not stay or that he just stayed?
Well, if perfect world, it would have been a better not stay, because that actually fixes the time travel issue. But like, the ending we got is worse.
I was gonna say that because that's just a sad ending as well. Like Indiana Jones
At least he gets
has
it
a-
once that way.
has a miserable present and is like, let me die on my own
In
terms,
peace.
please. And then he just dies on a beach and we're like, and that was the story of
Of
Indiana
Indiana
Jones.
Jones. Yeah.
He died miserable, but at least he got to like die on a
He went
got
out on
one
his own-
happy thing at the end.
On his own terms.
Marion's still divorced, Mutt's still dead.
Yep.
His goddaughter has to jump in the plane and escape the big time hole in the sky.
Yep.
God damn.
That is why it is the 5th movie that I would put it 6th behind a potential next movie.
Behind Young Indiana Jones Adventures.
Yeah. I've not watched it, it might be good.
Behind the upcoming Bethesda Machine Games Wolfenstein Indiana Jones game.
Maybe that'll fix it. You don't know.
I mean, it's Machine Games, the guys who do Wolfenstein. It's going to be an Xbox exclusive, so I can't play it. But I've got faith. I think, if there's anybody that knows a game about punching Nazis, it's the Wolfenstein guys.
That's true.
Apparently, the original LucasArts point and click Fate Atlantis is just obliquely great.
So play that if you want Indiana Jones content.
If you like Indiana Jones, watch Indiana Jones 1 through 4 and then play The Fate of Atlantis and then play Lego Indiana Jones 2.
Yeah.
Because that's like a criminally underrated Lego game. I don't want to say don't watch Dial of Destiny because I don't want to be like a hater, but
Just like watch it, form your own opinion.
yeah,
Agree with us
don't
after,
tell you how to
because
feel. Yeah.
After you see it, you'll know.
You're like, oh god damn, those guys were right. Like that's just fucking miserable.
Yeah, see yourself. I don't know, man. If you can enjoy it, enjoy it. I enjoyed parts of it.
I enjoyed parts, but
It's
that's
just
what I
not
mean.
the
It was
one.
a good time at the movies.
Yeah.
I'm careful these days about I don't want to be like movies are either literally like perfect or literally just the worst thing I've ever seen.
We can have alright stuff.
We need just movies at the cinema.
Yeah.
We need Cocaine Bears.
We need some original films.
Like, I suppose a fucking sequel to A Long Resurrected, like the Frankenstein corpse of a franchise that just didn't need a movie,
Yes.
I guess.
Might consider.
It's not like an original movie, but it's still, we just need movies
Yeah.
that aren't, I don't know, do you know what? This is just a franchise fucking milk. This is literally...
It is just a cash grab, Ewan.
movie.
This is what it is.
This movie was just good, which we need more movies of, but we don't need more movies like this movie.
We just need more Everything Everywhere All at Once. We need more horror movies. We need more small movies. We need more small movies.
We need more Cocaine Bears. We need more No Hard Feelings starring Jennifer Lawrence. Apparently that's just a funny, silly, romantic comedy. Not quite a rom-com, just like a weird, sexy, romantic comedy.
It's like an R comedy.
It's just like a fun movie.
Aye.
It's not
I need that.
The Hangover Part 1, 2 and 3. It's not Indiana Jones 7. It's just like, oh, go watch Jennifer Lawrence do a funny little movie.
Yeah.
Go watch Barbie.
Go watch Barbie. Go watch Oppenheimer. Listen, we've watched Indiana Jones. Now we can watch the really good movies coming out soon. We can hit them and then we can be like, oh, movies are good. Don't worry about it.
Movies, yeah. I'm in a bit of a malaise now. I can't believe...
I've broken him. I'm sorry, listeners.
You know, I wasn't so in love with it, but yeah, it's like a goddamn Indiana Jones really did peter out.
Yep, it's a shame.
I'm not going to be super harsh hater mode, but in a summary term, it just failed to justify its existence.
Aye.
And it failed to do anything meaningful with the character, and it failed to
give some justice to him.
To close.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like how I feel about episode 9 of Star Wars as well.
Well, that's why we're getting episode 10, don't worry.
God.
We won't call it episode 10, but it will be episode 10.
If it does a better closing than episode 9, it can be whatever the fuck it wants.
Nah, see, it's the start of a new trilogy.
I don't know if I can tolerate a new trilogy. Star Wars is like my favourite franchise, but I fucking hate Star Wars.
Is Kathleen like doing 10 and then like, that's me, I'm out? Or is Kathleen like, I'm doing all these new movies again now?
Kathleen seems to be in all that.
Okay.
I think you're just eager to think that Kathleen's the issue. But
no, I don't think she's the issue. I just think like she's been at it a while now.
Well, she has been at it a while.
Surely she wants to peace out now.
I don't know. She's been at this so long. Like, she's Amblin, she's E.T., she's like...
Yep, she's with Spielberg for the old days.
Was she on this movie?
Probably. She's been like all the Indiana Jones movies.
She has been on yeah. She was in 2, did you know that? She was on the dances at the start of 2.
There you go.
And she actually is on screen when it comes up with a producer credit.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I don't know how Star Wars is going to go. That's a whole other thing.
That's a whole other thing.
I think it's I want to like let people muck about and see what happens. Mangold, I don't hate Mangold because of this movie. I'm still wanting to see what his Dawn of the Jedi movie looks like.
Yep.
You know, I want to know if there was some development behind it. You know, Mangold says he showed up and there was a script. As you said, there was like 3 writers. How long was it?
Phoebe Waller-Bridge wasn't on the start, I don't think.
She wasn't. No, not I remember.
She came on like late-ish.
I want to know how long they've been at this, especially like knowing that how Tiny the Crystal Skull had
like how many rewrites did it take? And if Kingdom Hearts Skull got rewrote so many times, if this was to take another year, would it have been better? I don't know.
I think anything that takes more time could be better, but then I suppose they already delayed it.
Yep.
And they didn't really seem to be pushing to get it out.
Aye. Like, I don't think it's not been pushed very well, I don't think. I haven't seen a lot of marketing for it.
The marketing's a bit weird. I feel like I see a lot, but then I feel like I'm in a position when I'm going to get thrown a lot of marketing because of my likes and my...
Right, yeah.
I've curated it to show me that.
Yeah.
It's not so much that it's badly marketed. I just think, who cares?
I
know so many people who just don't care. They don't care about Indiana Jones anymore.
Aye. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, the adventure film is just... It's had its day in the sun. It's over. It's like if somebody did a western now, I really don't think anybody would care about it. Cowboys and Aliens like was fine, but was shitly like received and it done poorly because it's just like a cowboy movie. Who like sees cowboy movies now?
Things are like you need to niche things now. You need to make them like weird and different now for them to like be more cared about.
Yeah, like Wes Anderson's cowboy movie will be great because it's Wes Anderson's cowboy movie.
Exactly. Aye, because it's what it is. I was thinking Almodovar's Strange Way of Life.
Yeah.
Basically, just the gay cowboy Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah.
Brokeback Mountain is gay. The Brokeback Mountain cowboy movie.
Yeah.
Which obviously it's like a short film type thing. It's not quite the same. But yeah, that's like, it's interesting because it's like, oh wow. It's like a cowboy movie, but it's like a gay cowboy movie. It's like Brokeback Mountain. It's got like Pedro Pascal and Ethan Hawke in it. And I'm not saying like, fuck Strange Way of Life. I'm actually really, really excited for Strange Way of Life.
Yeah. But you're excited because it's like focused.
Well, I say for a lot of things, I think it just looks great. It's a great concept.
Yeah.
But maybe there's that inherent, like, oh man, it's like a sort of a western, but it's gay.
Yeah.
It's like Brokeback Mountain western cowboys.
It's like there's like 2 movies to be excited for, right? That movie, which is like auteur-ish, but it's like new. You've never heard anything kind of like it. It's like, oh, what's that gonna be like? And then it's like Oppenheimer, Mission Impossible, the blockbusters. These are what you see in the summer. Yes, Marvel has fell off. But hopefully they can come back.
Disagreed, but you know.
Yes, but like you would put them in that category.
Yeah, Marvel fell off. The last one was Guardians Volume 3, which people are saying is the best Marvel movie.
Yes, but the film before that
was the impeccable Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. What are you talking about?
Yeah, okay, sure.
So those are the movies in there.
You take Marvel from like Endgame era, it's like, yes, we're gonna go see that because it's the big blockbuster movie. So you get excited for those 2 kind of movies. Indiana Jones can't fit in that category right now because it's not the 80s.
Yeah, because it doesn't feel like a blockbuster.
Yeah.
Maybe if Harrison Ford wasn't like 95 and they could have more like spry action, but even then I'm like, it's just not.
Like, you can't sell it on the name. Star Wars comes out, people are seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it is shit.
You sell Indiana Jones on name to people who like Indiana Jones.
Aye.
And even then, we're people who like Indiana Jones and we had issues with this movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a bit sad. I feel like we need more movies that are in the middle between auteur and like
Yes,
blockbuster.
but you can't spend 300 million on them.
You can't spend 300 million because like this isn't the movie.
This is not getting returned at all.
Disney are like they're in a really weird spot. They're making some weird financial decisions.
Well, like, they had to write this off. This is coming out. Like, we spent 300 million on it.
They've been on it for a while.
Like, it has to go out.
Even if they've not had super drama with it,
Yeah.
they have been at it for a while.
When they hired Iger back, he was like, we're stopping all this shit. I'm sorting it. So we'll need to wait a couple of years for it to get like, any effect. So this, like, PDTR is going to be like...
We're in a bit of a weird period
Yeah.
because, you know, we have the Scourging of Disney Plus
Mhm.
and, like, Bob Iger's like, here, we're going to do a bunch of fucking sequels.
Aye.
Toy Story 5,
It'll make his money.
but, like,
Calm
I'm
down.
worried about what that's going to look like. Toy Story 4
Well,
was
like, the Toy Story team hasn't let me down, despite my reservations
reservations
and
about
concerns about 4.
But that's one of those, like, oh god, you're going to try it again?
Yeah, but like 4 could be like someone's one,
It could be, yeah.
and this is like...
Dial of Destiny could
this
be
is the
someone
new
like
one.
the Lost Ark.
It's not going to be though. I would beg to differ.
I just worry that, you know, like, Toy Story 5 is like, oh god,
Yeah.
like, that's a risky play because you know it's going to make money, but, like,
Inside Out 2 is a risky play.
oh no, I disagree. I think it's
disagree?
one of the easiest plays.
Really?
Something about easy. Frozen 3, bad idea. That's just because it's going to make money.
Aye.
I actually like Frozen 2 a lot. I like it a lot more than the first one.
Right.
But, like,
We don't need it.
we could just leave it there.
Aye.
Inside Out 2, I mean, it's just the sequels. You know, Disney and Pixar
Aye.
don't often make sequels.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah, you're right.
more recent concept. Sometimes, like, Inside Out doesn't feel like it had a definitive end, and it's one of those ones where, like, oh man, that's an easy answer. Like, it's about a fucking child, like growing
we're
up.
just getting older. Aye.
And emotions, yeah, so it's just do it a bit older and just have
It
another
makes
emotional
sense,
story.
to be fair.
Zootopia 2, they could do that, they'd get away with that. Did they announce Zootopia 2?
I have no idea, bro. I've not seen one.
You've not seen one?
No.
It's really good.
It's like race relations, right?
It is, yeah.
Aye, yeah.
It's also like Shakira,
Oh my god, no.
famous tax evader.
Oh
Shakira.
no.
Toy Story 5 seems like a risk, and they know they're not going to make money off it. So I'm worried like they just won't approach it in the way that it should be done.
I would trust the creative people that have worked on 4 already to like get it done.
Maybe.
I would trust them.
I mean, coming off a Dial of Destiny,
Yeah, but that's a different team. That's them over there. See them over there. Leave them.
I would think that you'd take the first chance to compare Disney and be like, yeah, fuck all of these corporate mouse shills.
No, I mean, I do think they have a large portion of the market cornered because they own half of it or whatever they own. But everyone else in the space makes good stuff. Like A24, Blumhouse, Warner Bros. When they hit.
I'm starting to think that Disney's market share isn't that big as even I thought it was, though.
No.
What realistically do they have cornered? Their animated movies are good, but I think Disney are losing the animated movie race.
Well, they're losing it in terms of the critics because they don't have an Oscar guaranteed now. And like everyone likes the style that Dreamcast and like Sony are kind of doing. Dreamcast.
Genesis does what Disney don't.
Sega? Fucking Sega the movies. DreamWorks and Sony kind of the style they're adapting now is like, oh, this is like new kind of a new way of doing things and everyone kind of likes it. Last Wish was really well received. Spider-Verse, of course.
Of course.
Like they're not guaranteed that side of it now.
It's true. And then I think that's also co-opted by just Disney's sort of unfortunate tilt towards Disney Plus, which was probably Chapek's fault. Hopefully Iger gets in there and gets that up. But like,
I think they all realise now that streaming's like not quite the answer.
it's not like the next step forward for everything. You can't
Like, we
just
all
push
thought it
everything
was.
to it.
And it's not because there's too many now.
Uh-huh.
And like even like the weekly release is better. Netflix can't do the binge anymore. That's why
think
they're splitting their seasons in
I
two.
think it's bad for movies. That's what I was going to say. Like Disney's movies are just like hit a fucking like
Aye.
because like they're just getting like parked on Disney Plus. There's not a lot as much like marketing and fanfare. There's not like enough time for them to culturally stew in the same way. Like a Disney going to the cinema for a Disney movie was like a repeated like reliable thing, and then they started to like COVID for some of them makes sense. Like I remember Soul was almost like we kind of just have to get that out, you know.
Aye.
It's a shame
Everyone
of
says
COVID.
that's amazing.
It's absolutely fantastic, but it just didn't get its time in the sun.
Yeah.
And then it was like the same for like Turning Red, and then like Lightyear, although Lightyear was like in cinemas, but it wasn't really good, and it was kind
Yeah.
of like Encanto even. Encanto, like amazing, everyone loves Encanto, but again, it was sort of like
Out for like a week.
yeah. I think the one that hurt them was Turning Red. Turning Red is fucking, watch this, I'm about to light the computer on fire. It's like my favourite Pixar movie, or like one of them, like it's literally top 3 in my head. It's an incredibly good movie, and it's just was like out, and we all thought that was good, and then it just disappeared after a week. We just don't talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
And Disney are like, it's almost as if like they're not going to continue their path of creating organic good stories, but then I think they are creatively stagnating a wee bit. Not like, I think they have a good concept of formula where they're just like, let's just take a concept and push it. And Kanto's like one thing, like Turning Red's another. It's a completely different culture and like aesthetic and that. But it's weird. I'm having the issue with Disney that I think other people are having with Marvel, where even when it's different, it just feels too samey.
But yeah,
I think it's in style. I think.
But it's the same.
Like the one coming out for the Disney 100 called Wish is literally the same style. Just it's got like a filter on it now, and I'm like, that's like different for Disney, so I'm keen to see what they actually do with it. But it's still the same character designs, aesthetic design, and like it's just that same art style, just with different things.
Right.
They don't change how it looks; they just change what they're looking at. Which is why, again, I thought Turning Red was such a specific, because that actually had a definitively different like art style. Pixar usually do turn it out, like Soul. Was Soul Pixar or Soul Disney?
Pixar, I think.
Either way, like Turning Red, and I heard Elemental's still quite good. I think it's getting a bit underlooked now, but Elemental is like another completely different thing.
It's coming out hard.
I think it's
month.
just because Disney have not done something dramatically different. They just keep going back to things that are all sort of samey.
Well, that's because
They
were top dog for so long.
This is their market share, yeah. That's the thing they've cornered. But as you say, they've now just been shown up so strongly, and I just want Disney
by
to...
like a brave new voice. Like, oh, this is a new thing.
This is like
that's a new way to do
it's
this.
Weird, and it's like
The unique animation.
Different people in different ways. It's made me excited for like. I mean, not that I was such a Disney stan that I would never think about others, but you know, I've got like, oh man, fucking Spider-Verse, and I'm looking forward to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. I think that looks great. The Mario movie was like good.
Yeah, very good. Illumination, I've always been kind of like thereabouts.
Yeah, like apart from the minions and the overproliferation of them, like I actually think the Illumination are quite like strong. The movies look good. Despicable Me was like really good. It's just watching Dial of Destiny sort of flares up my fears of stagnation. It flares up my... I know what animation is different, but...
It should, because it should hopefully be a turning point that like people look at, big studios will look at and say, okay, if we're going to do the 5th sequel to this like legacy franchise, we should do it with some respect, and we shouldn't just throw 300 million at it. We should like budget it properly so that we don't end up disappointed if it doesn't hit it, and then we can be in the green more.
Yeah.
We can see the profits and be like, smart decision.
They need a couple of wins, and that's why I think like the Toy Story 5 thing is like a smart business decision. I just think it's risky creatively when you're sort of dealing with a riskier reputation these days. You know, a lot of fear that you are disrespecting your films. Like, I mean, Dial of Destiny is like not doing as badly, I think, as we are. I mean, financially it's doing as badly, but like it's not getting quite as ran through the critically as we're running it through. But it's still like there's that, and then there's like, you know, like again all these like sequels to long-loved movies instead of just making anything new. But then there's the fact that Disney were like shit to all their new movies as well, with like fucking them on Disney Plus and not really giving them any credit or respect. Or like,
I don't think like Disney have ever had like I can't remember the last original IP that came out and I was like, that was really good. Like Tomorrowland, didn't like. Fucking the weird Oprah one, didn't like.
The weird, you
know,
A Wrinkle in Time.
Aye, what's
no,
that?
But that's actually based on a book.
Right.
I think Disney do this weird tax evasion thing where they just buy rights to a book and make a terrible movie out of it.
Bro.
Artemis Fowl was apparently a terrible movie adaptation of a really good book.
Do you know what one I did like though, to be fair, was the weird like Mary Poppins biopic with
See Mr. Banks with Emma Thompson?
Yes, aye, that was good.
But then do you know what's strange? This might sound like bad, but I actually really like Mary Poppins 2.
Returns?
Yep.
No, watched it.
It's just Mary Poppins again.
Bro, it's just Force Awakens, that's good.
But it kind of has like, it kind of has this element of like, oh man, all the kids for the first one are the adults.
Dick Van Dyke's in it, let's go.
Dick Van Dyke is in it, aye. He's a good laugh.
At like
Angela
90.
Lansbury's in it, R.I.P. like.
Oh man, rip the boy, the gal.
Oh, I don't know. It's weird because I do let them away with too much, but Dial of Destiny's, it's got me thinking like, oh. I think we're maybe...
But is that Disney or is that Lucasfilm?
That's true.
Like, who are you blaming for that?
Is it either of them, or is it just an upsetting cocktail?
Are we just... Well, Disney's like the overlord, so they need to finally approve it.
It's true.
But like, Lucasfilm are in the kitchens like, oh, let's cook up Indy 5.
Yeah, it also depends like, how long have they been at this? How much money they've been spending?
I've no doubt they're at it after 4. Is when the first idea went, let's do Indy 5, and it's just been there forever.
Because sometimes, I'm not trying to say I feel bad for the fucking multi-billion-dollar corporation, but sometimes there must be like Disney like, oh, we all just do this now.
Aye.
We're really sort of too locked in and we can't just like fuck it up.
Yeah, it gets to a point where like, I don't know how exactly the process starts for creating a movie like Indiana Jones 5. I imagine it's like months of writing that's costing you money. So after 2 years, you've got like a final script written, you've spent I don't know how much, maybe $1 million, and you're like, oh, do I really want to like shelve it and never use it? Or I'll shelve it for 5 years, get somebody else to
Especially
rewrite
if you
it,
think it
spend
might
another
make money.
million. Exactly. You could just be too much in the hole. At one point, you're like, I need to make it so I get something
Yeah,
back.
we have to get some return. We have to justify its existence, and we've talked about it a lot. We've got people all excited about it, and we've put so much into it, and people might like it. But I'm not trying to be like an apologist, but there's so many factors like that. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm worried we're on maybe shaky ground now. Maybe it's because we're in the Iger transitional period. We need to get him back. We need to get all he needs to start getting his ideas in and refix everything. If he comes in, greenlights a bunch of sequels that we don't need because they'll make money. As long as they're sufficient, I think some of them will be alright. I think Inside Out 2 will probably be good. I don't really think Frozen 3 could be hit or miss because I really like Frozen 2, but we don't really need a 3. Toy Story 5 is just such a risky concept because 4 ended up being so good, but can lightning strike twice?
Possibly.
Hopefully.
You're hitting the Tarantino vein. You're like, I'm worried about cinema. That's what you like, man.
Do you know what? Well, is it bad that Indiana Jones 5 was the
Has
thing
got
that
you scared?
It's the first time I've ever looked laterally at cinema and found a reason to be a bit more intimidated because of that whole it's like another sequel we didn't need and it just wasn't very good and didn't really respect it. It's the money thing.
Don't be that worried though.
I just feel like a lot of movies just don't make money anymore. Every time
it's weird. Every movie right now costs $300 million to make.
Yeah.
And every movie wants to make $1 billion. That's fucking dumb.
That
shouldn't be how you do it.
Turnovers, it's man, it's making this much, and I'm like, what do these numbers even mean anymore?
How much is the FNAF movie going to cost?
I don't think it'll cost that much.
25, 50 million maybe. It's all practical costumes and stuff.
Blumhouse as well.
Aye, right. Horror movies have it down pat. They'll spend 20 million, it'll make 500.
I was going to say that movie's going to make gangbusters, I think.
I don't know why everyone's it's just because Marvel were they were so efficient at high budget because they were all making $1 billion. Everyone was like, oh, I can do that, and they just can't do that.
No,
and now even Marvel can't do that.
I was going to say, no, even I'll agree with that. Marvel can't even keep up with its own pace. It's just outstripped itself.
I wouldn't be too worried about it because there should still be movies that are 300 million and they hit $1 billion. Avatar. That should still happen.
I was going to say, no, I'm going to be James Cameron. That movie.
That'll happen.
I think, if Marvel should... people should be smart and know when to deploy it.
Aye.
The amazing comeback in 90-year-old Indiana Jones is not going to be the $1 billion movie.
Aye. It should have been a small movie.
Secret Wars will be the $1 billion movie.
Aye. And you know what?
But they need to know they need to plan to make that much money on that, so don't,
And they need to really spend it. They need to actually do it properly.
Yeah.
We can't have weird-looking de-aging in Secret Wars. People will be upset.
Aye, no, 100%. I don't get too scared because I'm not Quentin Tarantino, so I'm not it's up to me, Graham.
We don't have to deal with that.
Graham, I have to save cinema.
We just have to watch the movie.
Scenes,
bro.
to save cinema.
I think we have the power.
I think we can move hearts and minds.
Yes, galvanise the people.
I guess I am just reaching the point where I'm like, oh god, there is a lot of repetition and there is a lot I just don't know what that means, but.
With that in mind, I'm still excited for Mission Impossible.
With that in mind, I'm still looking forward to Barbenheimer. I'm still looking forward to the Marvels. I'm still looking forward to Deadpool 3 and fucking Captain America 4. I think it's not all doom and gloom. I think it's just I can see where the weakness is. I can see where there is reasons to maybe be I think the money is the biggest issue. I think people just need to rebalance the books.
Yeah.
They need to stop pushing as hard as possible. I will allow Indiana Jones 5 the getaway of I bet you it was just
this one didn't hit.
Yeah, and I think it was you know what, the de-aging stuff, I see why you think you needed it, but maybe you just ended up being too much and you're like, oh shit, and we gotta just get this out and we have to delay.
The time travel feels a step too far. That for them and me is a bit step far. We shouldn't have done that. Yeah. Or we should have done it a different way.
I heard that it was a whole extra year in development because Mangold came in and was like, I want to rewrite the script, and I'm like, I like that, but then I guess that might have added to the whole, I don't know, whole extra fucking year.
Aye.
So I don't want to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, I do not think is the tombstone of cinema. I do not think it's the thing that killed cinema. But it just made me a bit oh.
It gave you some pause.
It gave me pause for thought, which is a shame because I was really excited for it.
Yeah.
And I liked it a good bit in a lot of ways. But it's one of the movies that I've ruminated on the most in terms of it's not really that good in a lot of ways, and it's kind of endemic of a lot of issues with Hollywood. Issues that you've even tried to tell me about for a while that I've just never really truly understood.
Well, I was explaining it to the Marvel guys, and you're like, I can't have that.
It's true. It depends on how you relate to it. Like, I've just never really felt any issues with Marvel.
Yeah.
So I can't really see it. But now I'm like, oh no, I get the issues with this movie. So I get the issues that you're trying to explain.
Yeah.
I think everyone needs an example that they can understand. They need a way in that they just, like, they can relate to.
Yeah.
And this is that a wee bit. But we're not going to let it hold us down.
No.
Indiana Jones 5 missed.
It did miss, but
There were still some things to like about it. If you liked it as well, do you know what? In fairness, I know a lot of people who really liked it.
sure, if you like it, more
My
power to you.
partner really likes it. Like, it's fine.
Go for it.
You know, there's a lot of, like, maybe we're just, like, so jaded about being long-term fans and needing, like, some grand closure,
Yeah.
which I think there's reasons to be justified in that, but, you know, I would never try and supplant other people's. So I guess we both, so for me, it goes Last Crusade, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Temple of Doom, and Dial of Destiny.
Yep. Me, it's everything, but just swap Temple and Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
That's that.
It's not like, you know, as I say, it's very easy in linear, it's easy to put these together, but
Yeah.
I think that's fair. And I think all the movies are good. Dial's just disappointing.
Aye.
Disappointing to very disappointing. It ranges on the level of the disappointment.
Yeah.
At worst, it's just disappointing. I think right now I'm a bit in a state of like, oh god, that was a very disappointing movie, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we'll wait and see. Hopefully there's no other Indiana Jones movies.
Honestly, yeah. Like, I don't know how they do another one. I'm happy for it to never see again.
It's just Harrison's told and he just doesn't want to do them anymore.
Yes. Like, let him go.
And they put it in a terrible spot to finish it because there's so much, there's just more that should have been, but they literally can't do another one.
Yeah. The only way they're going to do another one, and you're going to love me for this, Solo.
Alden Ehrenreich is young Indiana Jones.
Maybe know him. Well, he'd actually be better in Indiana Jones than Han Solo, but like, there you go.
Well, if you don't mean him, what do you mean Solo?
Yeah, like that. Do that. We're just recasting Harrison.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think Alden Ehrenreich is better as Indy than Han.
Really?
I think I get more Indy from him in Han than I do Han in
I
Han.
thought he was a really good Han.
I mean, I enjoyed Solo, but like,
I just don't know what they do with an narrative. I just
no idea.
do like their own real Indiana Jones adventures. Maybe I guess
Maybe.
there was like rumors that they were going to do like a show about Marion's dad, Abner Ravenwood, who was like his mentor.
Aye.
And I'm like, that's like not a bad idea. Like just like pre-Indiana Jones adventures.
Yeah.
Do a short round show.
Based.
Kihi Khan deserves it.
Let's go. It's really gritty and like China or
Really
something.
aggressive. Like it's short rounds like smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
fighting
it's
like
like
the triads or something.
Literally like
Crazy.
kick punching. Oh my god, could you imagine? It's such a weird state when I'm in there. Indiana Jones is so good and interesting, and it just is like, I really like you, but you better stop it.
It's like some things we should just leave.
Yeah, you just should accept that we did really well and we don't
Like-
need to do any more.
Do you know what, right? Like, Alien should just be left alone. But, like, I don't want it to be.
Oh man, are you not looking forward to the Noah Hawley?
I love it, yes. I didn't need Prometheus or anything, but, like, I'm happy it's there. But, like, we should have just left it. Aliens shouldn't exist, but I'm happy it does.
Yeah, I give you that, aye. Because technically you should have really just finished Indiana Jones at... Well, no, because they were planning 4. 3 could have been the end. I'm happy I have 4.
Yep.
They were planning 4, I guess. We didn't need 5. Aliens, I'm not into it yet, but... I mean, I've heard that to fail because they just keep going. The Prometheus and then Covenant, and then we've got the Noah Hawley, it's like a series.
There's a series, there's a movie.
Yeah, there's
getting
another
filmed
movie
now.
that just finished filming.
I don't know if it's finished or if it's starting. It's like somewhere in
About.
there. But there's a movie as well.
And we just, for what? You know what I mean?
I'm down. I'm literally down. Even if it's shit, I'm down. I'll watch Predators and have a good time. I'll watch it all. I don't give a shit.
Weakness in it, that's the problem.
Yeah.
And do you know what? There's some people like that are out there for Indiana Jones. Like, there are people like that
They're
are
just like, I'm here for Dial and I'm here to see it. And it's great.
4th time seeing Dial of Destiny. Like,
Let's go.
Thanks very much, James Mangold. I cried when Indiana Jones said it's Indiana Jones in time.
Yep. And then Indiana Jones
And
everywhere.
they whipped all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Now watch me whip.
Oh.
Now watch me nay. He just does like a really aggressive like, old.
It goes through the vortex and it's actually 2023.
Oh god, that's like Captain America when it comes out of the eyes.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Well, I think that's us. I think we've exhausted our
Ladies and
minds
gents,
souls.
we've rambled. We've had a good time. I hope you've had a good
I
time.
think we've had a good time. Yeah, I hope you had a good time, guys. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes.
Next time,
Next
we'll
time,
hopefully talk about something more fulfilling.
possibly. I don't know what we've got
Something more
scheduled for the
rich.
next one. You know.
Well, we've got a lot of
We'll just
options.
see.
You know, we also saw Asteroid City.
So Asteroid City.
We've got some stuff about Wes Anderson to say.
I guess. Yeah.
So look to the skies.
Yep.
I'll see you in the cinema.
Yes.
Go to your cinema. Tom Cruise did it.
He did
Greta
it.
Gerwig and Margot Robbie did it. The guy from Mission Impossible did it. Christopher McQuarrie did it. Go support the cinema. And do you know what? See after that?
Yeah.
Dune Part 2.
Dune Part 2. Oh, that's late in the year. We've got stuff before that, but Dune Part 2, yeah.
Well, it's earlier than you think. I was looking at news of it. It's earlier than you think. I think it's like October. It's before the Marvels.
Ah, that's November. That's like lately.
I think it's like early November, Dune. Anyway, go see Dune 2.
Go see Dune 2.
Go see Barbenheimer. Go see Mission Impossible, even though I'm not going to be because I haven't seen any of the other ones, but I want
I'll
to.
speak about it. He can ask me questions. I'll spoil
Yeah,
the
we can
movie
probably
for
do
him.
some Mission Impossible. We can figure it out. I hope you guys will join us for that,
Yes.
and I appreciate you all.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. If you do, don't forget like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. I don't know. I don't even know where we're on.
We're on every dying social media except Thread.
Yes, we'll be on there soon.
We
I'm
might
no
go
doubt
on
in my
Thread
mind.
soon, yeah.
Yep. Share, like, all that. Give us a good rating.
What are you doing? Thread? Rethread us?
Rethread us. Sure.
Thread my needle?
Thread. Oh, that sounds like an innuendo there. Thread my needle.
Thread my needle. See my orb.
See my orb.
Oh, right. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Scenes is a fan-created podcast. We have no affiliation with any of the brand studios or properties mentioned. All views are our own.
Produced and edited by my partner, Rebecca.
Music is provided by Epidemic Sound, and the cover artwork was commissioned by Rhiannon Cargo on Twitter or Instagram.
See ya.